Welcome back, everybody, to the next installment of the Support Stalker experiment. We're taking a look at the team results from Null Bind's test. Null Bind, the chill before the kill, the suppression support stalker, built around the idea of minus recharge. We're going to be taking a look at the stats. We're going to be going over that video. We're going to be crunching some numbers. So it's back to school time. Get out your rulers, get out your calculators, whatever. We're going into the numbers. Let's go ahead and get this party started. I'm going to pull up the video first. All right, so as you recall, the team that I'm putting together here are 5 players, my support stalker included, along with 4 others. And everybody's at least level 35, if not higher. If you are playing with incarnate level powers, you do need to disable those with the exception of your alpha slot. We're then going to run 5 missions. And this go round, we went over to Kallisti Wharf because I hear tell that these missions are tougher than your standard radio paper tip missions that you'd find in Peregrine Isle or over in Granville, which is where I ran most of my, well, I ran all my original 4 support stalkers there and a lot of my DEF CON series before that. And so I wanted to step this up, but not to the level of the DEF CON Aftermath, where we're taking on 801 stuff in the Architect Entertainment System building there. So I wanted the next best thing. So Kallisti Wharf, new zone, homecoming servers, tougher mobs, and pack a bit more punch, more trickiness, buffing, supporting, debuffing powers, controls, etc. So that was what was going on here. Recording the stats, recording the video, crunching numbers using Sithlin's DPS tool. And I wanted to compare what Nullbind does to the other support stalkers as well as to my defenders and controllers, and just kind of get an idea of where stalkers can fit within this milieu of supporters. So let's go ahead and get our video going. And we're going to pull up this first mission here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the squad rolling. I'll be right back.
What?
Cue Tommy. I swear, every time I have a video or end one, it's got Tommy's voice making something funny. Oh, Sawgrass.
Robot, what's? No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking ITF.
Oh.
All right, so this is the first mission. Let's pause here real quick. Let's take a look at our squad before I go any further. What? Let's go. We got Nullbind. That's my stalker. He is based upon minus recharge is the idea. He's got ice armor. And he's got Psi melee and Psi mastery. So we've got some minus speed, some minus recharge is the big thing. Trying to slow down the attack rate, slow down the enemy, clump them up, stack them up so that they can be beaten down. And then we have our tank who is Charnel. This is Wednesday Woe's character right here. Played with her a few times now. And Charnel in particular I've played with. Dark armor, dark melee, dark, I think. Darkity dark, pretty sure. And then we've got Brother Hellborn. That's Sawgrass Tommy's character. He's over there somewhere. I think he's a standard fire, so aka aggro magnet. Spoiler. Over here. Then we got Nate Knockdown. That's Nate's character, of course. KB King, maybe? I don't know. And then last but not least, we have the eponymous Guyve down here playing as Peacebringer. He's a triform and, you know, kind of a fit whatever role sort of character build, I think. So he'll tank and dwarf, he'll blast, he's got heals, you know, whatever. He's doing it all. So that's the squad. And just right off the bat, this is a suboptimal team just in general. Obviously, we don't have any true support aside from, you know, my stalker trying to fill that role. But the other issue, just kind of looking at this right away, is because of my strategy is going to be that clump, the gathering the groups up into, you know, a pocket and applying that minus recharge. So melee, getting them in there. Meanwhile, I got potential knockback scatter. We've got fire. You know, people want to run from the rain of fire. You got a lot of ranged, probably three different ranged characters. So three people playing at range with potential scatter or pulling aggro because of the blaster damage. We then have our lone tank Charnel going to be hitting that aggro cap, I imagine, trying to hold things down in proximity to her while I can then get in next to her because that's kind of my plan is I want to be next to my tank. First kind of protects me, but second, if she's able to pull the aggro, I can then clump and apply that minus recharge to the group. But if we're getting scatter, 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 or aggro magnet pulling away from the clumping, this could lead to trouble. So that's something we want to watch out for. This is not the team that you would want a minus recharge melee based support stalker to assemble. But one of the points of these particular tests is I am not trying to put together an optimal squad at all. I'm actually kind of being puggish with, and again, I'm not really choosing that either, but I'm trying to model as much as I can the randomness of the game, such that I have enough random data that I can look for signal amongst the noise. And so I don't want to be cherry picking and having super uber teams built around a specific, flavor or concept or whatever. But just FYI, that's not the optimal team for this particular build. It's more like a true pug. You just jump on some squad and you get what you get, and they're going to do what they're going to do. So, but that I think is a good test because, if you're able to support, one argument would be that you could support anything, right? You could support even the ugliest of pugs out there. So that's what we want to see. Can this build, even if it's in a suboptimal team scenario, do its job or not? Let's go ahead and find out.
There is a big robot in the market crash. I was confusing the robot.
Yeah, 55s, you guys. 55 Cray. Can you handle it? All right, so here's one thing right off the bat that we'll point out that's going to be different this go around. My previous Stalker support Stalker tests were all +4 times 8. And when I originally did them, the game capped enemies at 54. So you were guaranteed to have 54s only. But since the last game page update came out, they added the higher level mobs up to +5. So even if you're set to 4 times 8, you're going to spawn some +5s every now and then. So 55s, just the nature of the beast, the random number generator will produce some spawns that are extra hard. And so I don't know what the exact breakdown is going to be, but maybe a quarter of the map is going to be these +5. So already we're going to be harder just because of that. Plus, these are Kallisti Wharf missions, which are, again, supposedly even harder than normal stuff. Now, we are looking at just Cray, and I love the Cray, and I love their variety, different powers and stuff. But this is one of those Paragon Protector only spawn maps. So you're going to get not the variety you're looking for. And so I think that makes it a little bit easier than what you would expect. So let's go ahead and see if this is true.
I don't know if Chris gonna be as deadly as this.
All right, so we've got some action already. Now, one thing I originally was concerned for a second there, I think that was Nate that just kind of popped past me. I was like, what's that blaster diving in here for? Because, we have this group over here to the right. We had the group in the front. There might have been something to the left. That's why I'm kind of popping in here and looking. I'm not worried about scouting, right? I've got hide. I'm hidden. My tank has already gone in there. Charnel, she's over here, aggroing this group. But hey, does my blaster have stealth? I believe Nate does, as I just kind of look. So if for a second they're going, what is he doing in here? He's going to aggro. But he's taking a look, and he is stealth. Now, the other thing I'm going to point out that is going to come back as a problem, I think, is that 4 of us were on Discord. So we were in direct communication. You heard Tommy, you heard Guyve, Nate's on there. Wednesday wasn't on with us at the time. So here's your lead tank. diving in, and we are out of communication. So only if she's, obviously typing something are we going to see what it is. So you have to rely upon instinct a lot. And, if you're an experienced player, it's not a big deal. You kind of know what your tanks are going to do, what your blasters are going to do, that sort of thing. Plus, if you've played with the people before, like I said, I've played with Wednesday before, so I have an idea of what she's going to do. So it wasn't a crazy thing, but it is something that I'm starting to get spoiled on having voice comms. You're able to plan more easily, like, hey, look to the right, look to the left, watch out, ambush, etc. And a lot of that came out of our 801 testing that we were doing with the DEF CON Aftermath series. But here's just an example of, all right, so your tank's diving over here. Again, this is kind of puggish, right? And I don't mean that Charnel's playing like a pug. I mean, hey, your tank is going off and doing something. Your team is not necessarily on Discord together. Probably 99% of the time on a pug, you're not on a Discord with other people. So what are they doing? Where are they going? What are you doing? You're playing a support role. And so you're kind of hanging back, seeing what's going to develop so that you can then react to it. I don't have any proactive support, right? I don't have any shields or buffs. I'm a reactive supporter, and I'm going to try to get my positioning so I can leverage my minus recharge. I do have some ranged minus recharge from my Psi Mastery, which is part of the kit, and you'll see me use it. But ultimately, I want to get into melee to support up front. So if our tank can gather, I can then move in, and then our blasters can fire away. At least that is how it would work on paper. But we've got a lot of potential problems that can manifest. Let's see if they happen or not.
They're all Paragon protectors.
Hey, get your badge, everybody.
Oh yeah, you can get your Paragon protector badge in this zone pretty easily.
All right, so I just opened with my 2 big cone minus recharge. First, I went with cryonic from my judgment. That's got a hefty minus recharge, minus speed. And then I hit with Psi Scream. That's from the Mastery set. That's got a nice minus recharge on it. So these 2 attacks, big old cones, 1, 2 in a row, doing a bunch of damage and a bunch of recharge debuffing. I forget the exact totals, but between the 2, it's close to 60, 70%. I forget, somewhere in there. It's more than 50, I know that. Recharge. I forget the upper numbers. I think it's closing on 70%, maybe 80. Anyway, bam, bam. Everybody I'm hitting is getting a massive minus recharge debuff. Now, the thing about minus recharge is this is not going to help you against alpha striking, right? The enemy still gets their alpha initial opening attack and then whatever other powers that they have in their arsenal. So let's say these Paragon protectors have 3 attacks. Well, they're going to be able to attack before the minus recharge kicks in. So relying upon minus recharge is a attrition based support, right? It's at this point that it kicks in. So you have potential to take damage initially, and only at this point is it going to essentially stop the enemy from attacking. But if I can combine that with some controls, the other thing I had done with this build is I put the KB knockdown Ragnarok in my Psi Scream. So I've got Ragnarok in here too. KB, you see some guys getting knocked down, going flying. So between those 2, and also Cryonic has a hold proc in it, I believe. I have that on the radial side. So I've got some, control built in. I've got the minus speed, minus recharge. So hopefully between all that, you've debuffed and debilitated the enemy enough so that they're not even going to get these 3 attacks off. Maybe only 2, maybe only 1 before they're dead, or you're on top of them and they can't do anything else. All right, let's continue. All right, so I move into melee. At that point, you can see they're all freaking toasted.
Not as mean as the
No.
as that new mob. They're not as awful.
Yeah, Tommy's remarking these groups are not that dangerous.
That was fast.
I've been hanging out here.
No, I think Guy actually plays this pretty smart a lot. Not just this mission, but he's going to be using his Triform. He's going to be in Dwarf a bit because we are melee soft, right? If I had the optimal team, I would have wanted a Scrapper or a brute or something like that instead of one of our blasters or whatever. I would have wanted a dominator in here to get some control. You know, more melee focused squad. Maybe one blaster hanging back. All right, but we don't have that. But here we go. We've got Charnel. I think she threw an attack and started to pull. Ducks around, breaking line of sight. In comes a bunch of enemies. And then you see Guyve is going over here to Dwarf to be that backup taunt tank, right? Because if he just hangs back here in his blaster form, you've got all this stuff coming in, and if she loses aggro, like this guy back here, right? They just start firing away at the range people. I have no stopping power as far as aggro management, right? They're not even going to see me unless I attack them. And even if I attack them, I don't know if Stalkers just are coded this way, but they seem to be lower on the priority list than something like a blaster. Right, so they're going to go after these blasters if they can, and there's nothing I can do about it other than to frickin' kill them and blast them myself. All right, let's go ahead and see what happens here. Now I'm going in to get my melee stuff. All right, so here's a good example of what's going on. So I'm in here using my energy absorption. That's going to do a couple things. One, it's going to give me defense. But the other thing is going to give me endurance. But as far as on the debuff side of things, it's going to take away endurance from the enemies. It's a pretty hefty minus endurance. I think I'm taking away about 2/3 to 3/4 of the enemy's end. So with a couple hits, I can drain them completely. So I'm moving into melee to do that. I'm also moving in because I have Chilling Embrace on, and Chilling Embrace has minus recharge. I think it's got minus speed. And it definitely has minus damage. So that's another little protective thing that I can do to help the team. So I'm not running in here to do an attack right away. I'm just moving in here to get my debuffs going, get my own boost going. So a lot of times it might seem like I'm not actually doing anything when I move into melee, but I'm generally opening with this to get myself some protection and start to set them up for complete drainage, because not only can I minus recharge them, they can't attack. Now, if their endurance is super low, their attack options are going to be limited because they can't use certain powers that require high endurance. And then I'm getting this debuff to kick in, and this is probably a couple seconds before it tags these guys. So you got to stand there for a couple seconds before it works. But meanwhile, you can see these guys are just getting pummeled. I believe this is Sawgrass's brother Hellborn there, Rain of Fire and stuff, just unloading. They're not going to last long. So a lot of times what I'm finding is I'm getting in there, kind of doing my debuff thing, and before I can really start to do any additional damage melee style, they're just obliterated and gone.
Flame with these guys.
Okay, so I kind of hit with a Psy Scream.
I probably can.
Mass Levitate's my other big attack. Of course, they go, what, Moment of Glory or whatever. I can't freaking hit them. But there, I just got the energy absorption. I think it's auto hit on the endurance. So I just drained. Bam, she's hardly got anything left. So I'm like, well, maybe at least slower with that. And the minus recharge should also affect her. But at this point, okay, so here's an example of the communication, right? Wednesday's already in her head. I think she comments about this later. Doesn't have time for Mog. Boom, she's up here engaging the next group. And I think the assumption being that, oh, the taunt aura will drag the enemy, and it probably is true. But meanwhile, the others of us, I start to follow her, but I think the other three are back originally still engaging the Paragon Protector, who is unhittable at this point. So we've got a team split.
Nuclear.
All right,
Going full A.
there goes Guyve.
I'm just gonna drag her over.
Yeah, okay, you can see our two blasters, I think, over there.
Going nuclear. This chick still.
Oh,
Yep.
she's still not a.
She's doing her thing. Yeah, so again, we've just moved on to the next group already. I was looking back to see what that boss is doing. Is she following us? You know, because I don't want to have to stay and go back and kill her later. Boom, we've already moved forward. We're already engaging new enemies. And this is a problem because, hey, I'm supporting, right? If I'm back here and the team is up here, you know, they don't have their support. And the issue being that I need to be into the melee with the bulk of the enemies. At this point, look at my position. It's terrible, right? We've got guys here, here, up there, right there. Everywhere you see Nate's taking big hits at this point. I think that's a quantum right there. So that's going to put Guyve in danger. I'm not even sure where Guyve is. Oh, he's up here. There's Guyve, right? So we've got our 3 range people are firing away, and they're pulling lots of aggro. I mean, look at these people. They're like, I don't care about Wednesday. Charnel. Right? They're coming in. So, communication, right? We're not saying, hey, moving on to the next group. Plus, we're doing an open engagement. We're just in the middle of a room. This is a big, wide open area. It's hard to get that clustering, right? That clumping that I'm looking for with this build. Stuff is spread out. And I think this happens most of this particular mission. Yeah, see, look, they just run after you because of that inflame. It's not even funny.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, right there, boom, boom. I mean, guys are not dropping, but they're going flying, right? Blaster's taking damage. Peacebreaker's taking damage. I just get in here. The other thing just heard me saying, I think, was that Hellborn here is using Inflame from the sorcery pool and is putting it on Charnel to get the extra damage. The problem is this is your power, so this is the blaster's power, and it is going to cause aggro on the owner of the power. So as Wednesday's Charnel moves into range of enemies and starts dealing damage with Inflame, the aggro is not going to go to Charnel, who's wearing the toggle. It's going to go back to the blaster who put it on her, and the blaster is in the back at range. So we have this problem because we have our melee tank is not able to contain the aggro that is now fleeing towards your blaster. And the other problem is I don't know if necessarily that Wednesday every time is taunting. She's probably going in there going, okay, I'll start stirring it up, punching stuff, taunt or that sort of thing. And anything that's not within that initial, you know, hits or whatever is going to immediately, if they're getting hit by Inflame, is going to go after him. Plus, you know, you're throwing AoE attacks from range on top of that. So you got lots of stuff wants to come and get the blasters at range. And then you throw in my delay getting here because I was looking back the other direction. Now I'm out of position. I can't really do much if there's scattered targets here. I try to intercept, but I really only can grab 1 or 2, whoever's nearest to each other. And meanwhile, your melee tank is sort of all alone. You got your blasters taking individual damage. Where do you go in this situation?
But they don't hit as hard as the other mobs, so.
Yeah, there's that quantum again. Lining up my cone.
Taunting. Turn it off.
Well, it's almost like you have a taunt or a for her.
So that's kind of the style I want to use right there. If I can get this to go, is see me do it right here.
Yeah, they do. But they don't hit as hard as the other mobs.
So here's what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to line them up. Cone, cryonic.
But I might be totally killing one.
Cone, scream. Go into melee.
Turn it off.
Mass levitate.
Well, it's almost
And with those 3 attacks are all AoE. You got minus recharge, you got minus speed, you got the knock up, you got the knockdown with the Ragnarok. You've got the hold potential with the cryonic, right? So bam, bam, bam. Between all that, it's really devastating to the group. But you'll see I've only got like 3 or 4 targets here because everybody else had been scattered at this point or killed.
like you have a taunt or a for her.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Kind of ruins the tank's job when you use it. Maybe that's why people don't use Inflame.
So that needs to be my position with this character. I need to be next to the tank who's gathered the aggro and then start leveraging my debuffs and controls. That's what this character is built to do. And I think most of the session, I am not able to do that as effectively as I'd wanted to. Again, part of it's the team's design. We got a lot of range stuff, a lot of aggro pulling. And the other part is just these maps are not very conducive to that. But hey, that's the way the game is. You have to roll with the punches and get yourself in as best you can.
Oh, I'm surviving much better.
Okay, so there you go. I don't know. See what happened here. So you saw Wednesday did the big dive, which I love to do as well. Because I know what she's trying to do here. All right, so she just jumped. You just saw her running and jumping. She's going over the group. It looks like she's throwing an attack. So her plan is the big old rainbow shot and get yourself back here. All right? Perfect, because then you get all the aggro pulled in this direction. So if they start throwing cones, AoEs, it's away from the team who's back here. So it's a perfect setup. But what I noticed is a couple of them don't fall for it. So I don't know if this, did she do a taunt as she jumped over, or was it just a proximity, hey, look at me, I'm a tank. And then this looks like one of her blasts is coming in. So I don't know if she threw a taunt or not. But it looks like some of them don't fall for it. Right there, like two of them I just ran past appear to be wanting to go get the people behind me. And I don't know why this video pixelates every time I start and restart it. But it's kind of annoying. All right, so at this point, right, I just saw a couple people went back in the other direction. But I'm like, well, do I turn around and get one or two people who are engaging my blaster people? Or do I go into where I'm built to go, which is melee? So I decided to go, all right, I'm going to go up closer, melee area. Start putting a debuff in there. Blasters are just smoking things. I'm playing cleanup duty. But look, we got scatter. We're engaged another group again.
I just ran right after Wednesday and stood next to her with my repulsion field going.
That was great.
Oh, you built an energy blaster with repulsion field?
Yeah, he's a sadist. Or
Oh, delicious.
he's trolling his teammates.
Is that illegal? Like in Europe or something?
Yep.
Not in Amsterdam.
And I think the Paragon Protectors like to scatter anyway because they fly, a lot of them. But we're not getting good containment on these guys at all. Now, luckily, they're just kind of like cray. They're not that tough.
Kill, kill, kill. Wednesday's on a kill mission. Yeah, these guys are... Yeah.
Yeah, dark group.
she's a tank, okay. I thought she was a brute for some reason.
I think she's the reason I made a dark group.
All right, now that was a great execution on that group. All right, let's watch this. So Wednesday goes in first. I wait for a second. Let's see what she's going to do. All right, she's going in. She's pulling aggro. Looks like everybody's focused on her. I'm like, okay, this is good. Build up.
I think she's the reason I made a dark
Psy Scream. Cryonic. Close the melee. Energy absorption. It's all dead. All right, blasters were behind us. They unloaded.
Nobody got time for Mog. Yeah, exactly.
Anybody got time for that? Yeah, you get that. If you run the one of the arcs over here, you can get your Paragon Protector badge pretty quickly.
All right, look at this. Again, we got bad positioning. So, again, this is, kind of a standard thing, right? Your tank's going in deep, and getting some aggro. But look, 1, 2, 3, at least 4 guys are coming in the other direction. So was it no taunt? Was it they just saw people, they were too spread out? Was it Blaster shot somebody? See if we can figure out what's going on here. But this is causing a problem, at least for me as a supporter. I can't focus my debuff. So I wait back here for a second. I'm like, let's let the tank go in and get shit stirred up. So I'm going to snipe this fool.
If you run the
All right, so we got two people just came in. And that one looks like just like F the tank. Let me go kill Nate Knockdown.
one of the arcs, this
Guy who goes in there, looks like he peels off to the right.
over here, you can get your Paragon Protector badge pretty quickly. There's an arc that's like it's just all these guys almost.
Yeah, looks like there was this guys off to the left of the door who were not impressed with the tank. They just saw blaster meat coming in and went after it.
Quantum. Oh right, forgot we had a.
We got one of those.
He just blends right in. He's like, if someone tells me I can bring anything to a group, I just bring my peace bringer.
It's the friendly scarf he's wearing. Yeah, I mean we have a yeah. Well, I hear you. Like Brother Hellborn's, they're saying, hey, by the time it gets there's nothing left to kill with the fire. It's like, yeah, same thing there. It's between. We got a ton of firepower on this team. All right, I'll check this out. Here's again communication. So let's back this up. Back this up. All right, we just finished this group, right? They're just evaporating. Boom.
It is Wednesday.
They're looking that way. They're looking that way. Yeah, it's kind of crazy considering these guys are 55s and they're just evaporating.
It is Wednesday.
All right, so there's clear targets down the hall. So I go down there to take a peek. And then I see there's another group to the right. So there's this group here. There's this group here. Guy's with me. We're both seeing the same thing, I think. And I'm like, all right, maybe we should maybe go this way. We're going to light these guys up. I look around like there's nobody else there. Like, where's the rest of the team? Which way did she go? I start hearing fire. So I have clicked on Wednesday's charnel in the team window to find out where she is. She's over here. Went back the other direction. Again, this is a communication thing. Crazy tank. Where, you know, most people follow tank. So if you're not following the tank, which I wasn't there for a second. Now, luckily, I didn't engage. You know, with enough experience, you know, okay, don't just start firing blindly into a room. But I was thinking about it. But again, it gets you out of position. You got scatter.
Fire is so much fun. Die!
I think communication's huge on teams. And it's sad that this game, when it came out, didn't have that as a... There was no voice when this game came out. There still is no voice in this game. It's, you know, through third-party stuff. All right, now here's another thing. Like, check this out. I don't know if we're just rushing too much.
For me making this one. I'm very easily influenced by people.
Okay, well, now we're going back down the hall. All right, we get a complete tanker lock. Dive is diving in there too. So they just go charging straight ahead. There is a room right over here. Now, nobody sees us, I don't think. But you can see the setup because the melee is going to happen down deep. So where your range guys are going to be standing, they're going to be standing back here, focusing, shooting this way. So if the range people are back here and they start shooting, any stealth they have is going to suppress. And then if the enemy who's in this room is close enough to the door, they're going to see and start hitting you in the back. So here's one of these classic noob trap scenarios where you just dive in there for the obvious candy down at the end of the hall and miss the potential knife in your back. There's guys in this right side. I kind of hold up. I'm like, all right, if these guys come out, I want to smoke them. So I'm sort of taking myself out of my position because I'm worried these guys might. I don't know if there's other guys right here to the right. Is there somebody right over here standing right on the side of the door? I haven't looked. So if there is, boom, they're coming out at you. And I'm pretty sure Guy had seen this group initially, but apparently nobody else had seen them yet. So I'm saying it in Discord.
I'll just pull them out. I'll just pull them out for you guys, okay?
But at this point, we're like smoking these guys pretty good. So I'm like, you know what? Let me pull these guys. Let me get some more action going. So I throw a fire in there.
They're behind you.
We are total sweat.
Yeah, I know.
You just
Here they
totally
come. You guys are
in
fine.
the room.
Yeah, that's me. Told you I was gonna
The
do
room's
it.
aggroed.
Told you I was gonna
Got
do
two
it.
rooms
All right, so that was just me being
If I did
just funny or not.
We are
But I really wasn't worried. These guys are just going down so fast. I mean, I feel like I could solo one of these mobs, no problem. So I pull them out. They should be aggroed on me. Kind of duck around the corner. Give a warning to the team. My pet's getting mashed.
Right?
I'm the next best thing to a tank.
That other mob killed me right through
I'm a
rune of
support
protection.
stalker, damn it.
That first mission, I had rune of protection up. They just ate right through it. Didn't even care.
He's out.
So I finally get to use some attacks.
Where's Shade last night?
Check out, I feel like Wednesday's already been in this room. So I mean, we're splitting a team. It's not costing us anything, but it's just these scenarios you end up seeing, and
I used
pug teams will do this all the time. If this was an 801, you would probably would have gotten killed.
Yeah, your Proteus.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it if that was an 801.
He was pretty badly built till I did that. He's pretty good now.
Ranged AoE, knockback, knockdown, minus recharge. Charnel's collecting mobs.
Farm this effing crap. Whoops, I just pulled some more. Hope you guys don't mind.
Dang it, stupid moment of glory.
At this point, I'm trying to get stuff to aggro onto me.
Moment of glory.
Probably nothing.
Man, look how fast this stuff's going down.
It's ticking on her. Tiny ticks, but it's ticking on her.
Tiny Ticks. That could be your next character name.
Already taken.
It's one of your characters.
See, I thought you said tiny something else. So what?
What?
Oh, that's what I said too.
That's my nickname. Don't wear it out.
Oh, stuff is just being destroyed.
Oh my god.
What? What's in?
They just all just dropped. Oh, it was just so
Yeah,
amazing.
everybody hit right. That was nice.
I really hate when they pop that emoji.
Jeez.
Maybe there we go.
All right, done. All right, easy, right? We're just fucking cleaning up on these fools like they weren't even there. All right, so let's use that mission to talk about one of the main stats that I collect, and that's your threat. That's how much damage output you're doing. And you can see, I think, from that mission that Null Bind's damage output was low. I didn't get a chance to really do much, aside from the shit that I was just pulling there. And you can see here in the first mission, I only put out 33,000 and some change damage. Compared to my later missions, you'll see I'm going to do, about 50% more damage as we go along. Relatively short mission, 10 minutes. The rate, though, is, kind of lowish. It gets even lower in some of the other missions. But overall, he's putting out a low damage output compared to, if you take a look here at the comparisons to the other stalkers at this point. Here's the composite data that's showing you the range of data across the 5 missions and the clustering with 50% of your data within the boxes, and then the whiskers representing the other 25%. Comparing to everybody else, he's low, right? He's down here. Your most damaging guys would have been like Zaus. Dead Cell had some good numbers. And then over here in the rates, you can see these are the averages. So he was averaging 3669 across all his missions. And if you look at the error bars, that is statistically significantly lower than the other 4 stalkers tested. So, low damage output. Now, is that because he doesn't do damage? I don't think so. I think you saw what was going on. I think, when you got 2 blasters and a Peacebringer throwing out all their crap, there's really not much damage for me to do. That was part of it, your team comp. And then I think also the positioning was an issue. Because a lot of the stuff we were doing, I wasn't able to leverage my melee positioning that I needed to be fully functional, fully operational, whatever you want to say. So I think between these two things, your team comp and your positioning, I just wasn't able to get the damage output that normally as a stalker I would have been able to get, because you can see I was doing much better on these other characters. 5,000, 5,000, 5,000, 4,000 was my lowest on overexposure. But here we are, significantly lower amount of damage per mission. And we were cruising pretty quick. I mean, none of these missions was more than, like 15 minutes, right? We're just ripping through these missions as we go, just tearing it up. So the team was moving very quickly. And I think you also kind of saw that too, right? We were moving quickly, possibly too quickly in some cases as far as risk went. It wasn't awful there, right? Nobody died. So that was the big thing. I didn't die, they didn't die. So it was acceptable risk, right? We were moving quick, stuff was dropping, damage was flying. Not mine though. So a lot of opportunities that I just didn't get with this particular build. Then when you take a look at the derived metric, because we're going to take a look at how that impacts my kills. Let me go ahead and move by camera here. This is the relationship between his output damage and the foe defeats. So if you take a look at these numbers here, Null Bind is the gray slope over here. He's actually doing decent amount of damage per kill that he's getting. 1,400 is what the slope is telling you. You compare that to overexposure 1,450, Zaus was 1,500, Uncaged was 1,300, Dead Cell was 1,200. So he's in the middle of the pack of damage per kill. He's just not getting the kills. He's just not able to deliver the damage. And I really think it's because the team was doing a lot of that for him. He didn't have to do a bunch of damage. So that's what I believe the metric is showing you when you compare those two together. And that's what we'll take a look here with the lethality stat. So these are the kills I was getting. And again, this is pretty low numbers. 30, 39, 28, 29, 39, 165 total. That's pretty darn low. You look at him, across all his missions, the spread of data, it's very low. It's not statistically significantly lower than everybody. It's, on par with overexposure. But, the other stalkers, Zaus, Dead Cell, and I think Uncaged were all statistically significantly more foe defeat. So again, we got a low foe defeat number for this particular build. Is it the build? I don't think it was. I think it was the team comp. Okay, the team was very offensive, so I didn't have to do a lot of offense. So that's where I think we're not seeing the metrics in his favor. Again, that's fine. All right. He wasn't built to be some offensive juggernaut. He was built to get into a pile, slow it down, let the team crush it in place. So I think you might argue that this is evidence that style actually was working. All right, let's go back to the video. This is the second mission now. And it's more, I think, Paragon Protectors, if I'm not mistaken. Another big open map. Yeah, so Paragon, sorry, not all Paragon protectors. It is Cray though, so we got a bunch of Cray. So it should be a little more tricky because you got a variety of mobs. They do have debuffs with these Cray, but it's the same enemies. We shouldn't have a huge challenge, and I think you're going to see similar what you just saw in the last mission, where it'd be kind of run and gun style, loosey goosey. Uh, I'm playing more of a chase role than actually front facing. So let's see if that plays out or not.
I'm gonna risk and flame again. Let's see what
I
happens.
freaking sniped this guy from a mile away.
I'm among the poorest.
Yeah, I really like Psy being able to do that. Like right there, I just about obliterated that guy.
I just feel like we could pull a lot more. I don't know why, but
Look at him flame with that rain of fire. It's pretty.
Yeah, see, I'm used to maybe from the DEF CON stuff more pulling. And I think we could have probably used it more. Again, nothing bad is happening here to the like, oh my God, everybody's dying. But you know, you kind of saw that whole layout, right? You got that room that we come into. Kind of draw this over here. So you got this room, right? We come in here. Guess the hot pink shows up better. You have a mob over here. You got a mob over here. There's one on the corner. And I think easily we could have just hung back here into this narrow little hallway and just fire this way, you know, snipe or whatever, pull them, taunt them, just bring them all and just crush them. I would have been okay with taking all three of those groups simultaneously. I think we could have done it. We didn't do it that way, right? We're going into the room, and I think just it's you know unnecessary damage you can risk yourself with, right? We go in here to fight these guys, potential aggro. I did snipe the guy on purpose, right? Because I'm like, yeah, let's just pull him, see if we can bring him over here. We got all this firepower. Why not just maximize it in a kill box? So now you see us moving over here, and these guys are over here, right? So we're kind of just moving around a lot. It risks exposure. A lot of the things is sort of my experiences with those 801s where the enemy has awesome perception and they're just aggroing on you anyway. And I just don't like to be in the middle of a room being shot from every direction.
I think we just APOC our way through this map.
somebody's taunted me.
All right, there it is again. Check it out. Every single time, I swear to God, that I have played with Charnel, here's Charnel, she gets confused and taunts me. Every time Wednesday's character is Tank is taunted. If you go back and watch some of the DEF CON videos with Charnel, she's gotten confused and is taunting me. And it happens, I think, a couple of times. And I'm like, what the hell? Who's taunting me? And I was like, it's her. And then she's trying to hit me, I think. What's up, Wednesday?
Seriously?
Right there, she just did it.
Oh, you know what? I think she confused because I'm like taunted by Charnel.
Yep.
Fucking Charnel, that's it. I'm gonna nuke her.
Yay!
Eat that, Charnel. Confusion.
My seer pet's out. Yeah, see, look, we're over there engaging that group.
I mean, honestly, this is just a slaughter against these Cray.
Probably how we'd be against any of the regular mobs in the game.
It's not like we got the OB squad here either.
So is that like dispersion bubble just knocking them all down? Is that how you built it? Instead of repelling them?
No, it's very close range. If you look at it.
Yeah, it's not like the.
Yeah, so again, there's another example of team split, aggro's in one direction. Again, is anybody gonna die here? No, but it's just one of these things where, you know, if you get to a situation where there is a more dangerous enemy or whatever, these tactics will not work. They'll end up getting people killed. You think Charnel goes in there. I think Guy was in there as well, but the other three of us are back shooting the guy or cleaning up the trash in the back. Bang, we're engaging the next enemy group.
Like the force field one.
Loving those crits on the side screen. This team really could have used a Dominator. So lock down all this running crap.
It's kind of more like a reactive thing, I think. If you
Anyway, my criticisms aren't necessarily the team itself, but it's more so of a educational sort of thing. Like if you're playing with some pugs, you know, that sort of thing is gonna what gets people smoked.
Personal defense, because mobs will come directly towards me.
So I like guys now kind of playing more melee, jumping in there.
I'm gonna open this door, shoot something. No, there's nothing in there to shoot. Damn it.
Bodies are just dropping to the floor.
Yeah, we're just crushing things.
Making her taking her whatever, making our way with them. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit. Having our way with them. That's what I'm trying to say.
Have it your way.
On it again. Or I don't know if that was her this time though. I think it was one of the enemies.
And this energy absorption is to die for. Just about full draining with my slotting.
These mobs get in my face and I can kill them pretty fast before they eradicate me.
Next.
Yeah, this is just cray abuse. It's weird, like the cray got an upgrade too, and it's just not.
You know why I want to
Alright, so here's where things get frisky, because I'm like, what the hell, why not? So this may ultimately be my fault here, but look at the room, and it's kind of the example that I was talking about earlier, where you run into a room, maybe without looking or with looking, and instead of kind of using pull, you're just like, F it, you go in there and risk aggro. So here's this room, right? We come in here, there's a group here, there's a group here, there's a group back there. We're just diving in and fighting here. Where probably the smarter play is, you know, pull, blast them all right here, right? You could easily do that. Maybe send your tank in, come back here, snipe somebody, whatever. We got plenty of options. Probably the worst option is the one that we're doing right now, which is, hey, dive in there and go nuts. Because any of these guys, they like to scatter, right? You aggro something on accident. Now I aggro on purpose. And part of that is on purpose. I'm doing it because I don't want accidental aggro. I'd rather aggro and control it. So I know if I shoot these guys here, they're going to want to get me. And then I can deal with it, right? Whereas if I'm over here and I'm facing this way fighting and one of these guys aggroes, I'm not going to see it coming. So I'd rather like, okay, I'm standing in my position. I got my, you know, debuffy kind of aura. Anybody near me is going to be debuffed. I don't really care. I'm not taking a lot of damage. I'm not taking a lot of hits. Let me start pulling some of this crap this way and get them into our kill box where we're over here just unloading on crap. Instead of, because my fear is going to be this, that we're going to be in here fighting and kind of get stuck. And let's say Wednesday then dives into here to go start fighting these guys and aggro's this. Meanwhile, we now have a split team, right? A couple of us are back here, a couple up here, stuff's coming from every direction. So I'm like, screw it. Let's keep everything in front of us and start pulling it down this way. So I just say, F it. I'm going to shoot these things. And I'm telling them.
Okay, support stalker.
Oops, I forgot it was the wrong roll.
What'd you do? What happened?
I pulled a whoops. Except it was on yeah, I pulled a Tom, except it was on purpose.
I pulled a sawgrass.
Alright, I was just having fun, you know. It's fun with the guys.
Now I think what I didn't expect to happen was them to dive in there. Like, I was like, okay, they're over there fighting right behind me. That's cool. They're going to finish that up. Let me just unload on these guys. So let's go back and watch this. Okay, so here it is. We're fighting this group here that we just came into the room with. Stuff is dying. So I'm like, look at all these guys. I'm still with the team. I fire, aggroing a bunch of them. Fire again, aggro some more. They're now shooting at me. I'm not really taking a lot of damage though. And then, bam, Charnel dives in there. I don't know if she thought, like, again, I don't think she was able to hear what we were saying. Oh, hey, I'm going to F and do this. So, bam, look at Charnel. She goes diving in there. All right. Maybe she thought I was in trouble. I don't know. I was fine. So I go, okay, let me move up to help Charnel at this point. Because now I'm like, okay, now she might get in trouble.
What happened?
I pulled a.
And then I turn around to kind of see what's going on. Looks like everything's dead, but there's a couple strays. I don't know where Give is at this point now.
Except it was on purpose. Yeah, I pulled a Tommy. Except it was on purpose.
I pulled a Sawgrass.
So I don't know where, like everybody was there and now they're. Let's see what happens. All right, then Nate moves up. Maybe he's trying to use his bubble. Yeah, so I wasn't expecting that. Here's my thinking: is that we had our range stuff back here. Just stay back here, right? Almost all the stuff was dead. There's 1, 2, 3 guys. It looks like. I think another one's over there. So all right, we got a blaster. You know, hang back here. Blaster, hang back here. Peacebringer, hang back here, and start firing at this group that I just yanked and Charnel just dove into. But instead, I think what happens is you see Nate follows in behind Charnel and me. Guy, I think, is in here too. I'm not even sure. So I'm turning around and I'm seeing, wait a second, now Tommy's all by himself and there's like 3 guys near him. So I'm like, all right, let me finish this up because this guy right here definitely looks like he wants to kill him. And brother Hellborn's been taking a beating at this point. So I'm like, well, he's on an island, so let me go and make sure he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I pulled a Tommy. Except it was on purpose.
So I'm trying to stay close to this group.
I pulled a Sawgrass.
Nate's taking a big beating.
I was just having fun, you know. It's fun with the guys.
Yeah, there's Dive stunned. Now I turn around and like the whole damn room has been aggroed. Now I didn't do that way down there, so I don't know what happened there. Maybe Charnel did it. Something. So now we've got, you know, frickin' broken arrow here. Stuff is just everywhere. Again, this is what I was fearing was going to happen, which is why I tried to do the pull in the first place. Because I'm like, hey, this whole big long room, let me get this group and move them this way where we have our concentrated firepower. But what happens, our firepower all moved to the middle, leaving some strays behind us, aggroing this far end now. Not exactly sure how that got aggroed. And we got a fight here. We got these guys shooting. We got these guys shooting. There's stuff every which way. This is like total disaster. Yes, I'll admit that I started it, but I was like, I didn't think they're all going to dive in there after me. So that's what I mean by this loosey-goosey style. We're just kind of effing around, right? This is not, we weren't like trying not to die sort of thing. I was very cautious.
I got a whole room of them. Damn, I didn't pull that many. Oh, you're sleeping.
Stuff under control again. All right.
Healer back here.
I'll push her towards it Wednesday.
Oh, let me get this quantum. That's what's killing me.
Come on.
Well, I was like, what's killing me?
Crit your ass.
Not used to things living this long. Jeez.
Die already, dude. I'm pounding this chick. She's just taking it like a champ.
How did we kill her?
All right, so right there's our first team death. So, hey, would it have happened if I hadn't done that? I don't know. You know, probably not, but it did. So, is what it is. But again, things just got too scattered. I think we're not just playing as a unit. It's kind of just everybody's throwing everything at them. We got a lot of just aggro with the blasting going on. You got quantums chasing your freaking Peacebringer around. Your tank can only hold so much aggro. And scattering is not this guy's forte. My character, if I can get stuff again kind of in an area clustered, then let's do it. So again, my kind of idea is just let's fire downstream, pull them towards us where we were all at, and then smoke them there. I wasn't anticipating Charnel diving away in there, and then our blasters moving in there, starting to fire away. Maybe it was safer because they're trying to stay closer to the tank, I guess. I don't know, but I was more like, let's keep direction. Let's keep them in front. All right, so bam. First defeat.
He was trying to save me from death.
What?
I got a rest for him then.
We didn't keep up with them.
No, he came after me because I was getting slaughtered by a quantum.
You guys got to stay near your support stalker.
Yeah, once I hit that quantum, he was on me.
Well, he was sniping me from behind. I was trying to kill him. I thought that gun mostly just hurt Peace Bringers.
All right, so that was kind of bedlam, right? But I think it also shows that it didn't really hurt us. Yeah, one person died, but even though things went against us quite quick, we turn it around super fast. We had, again, have so much firepower that the enemy only gets a few seconds before most of it's destroyed. But that third group is really what I think ultimately did in Guy here, just that extra aggro on top of everything else at the very back.
So I guess it's nasty to get hit with.
Oops.
Changed it to negative energy.
Oh yeah, I have no negative energy protection. It was
Another setup, nice location. Open with some range. Go in there with melee. Here's another one in there. All right, boom. Oh, they just got mashed.
Charnel, on the other hand, is set up for negative.
Yeah, she loves Peace Bringers. Quantums. Yeah, so here's another one of these situations, right? We're going in, and this is, you know, something that you wouldn't want to do with your high perception AoE 801 AE folks, right? We've got this big old room, right? We're coming in here. There's a group right there. There's a group over there. I see one back there. All right, boom, we're coming in here. All right, if you start coming in here, start fighting, you risk aggro from this group. If, you know, start shooting this way, you might accidentally over target somebody and hit one of these guys. So it's a risky area. We could just simply pull them to that door, blast them right here, pull these guys, smoke them right there. We're going in deep. We're pulling an APOC. We got some cover.
because I'm about to grab a bunch of aggro.
Dude, they're look at that. They're just running. Running after you or something.
Yeah, because I rain of fire.
Dude, you better get near your support. You got your Peace Bringer. Yeah, like Brother Hellborn was just pulling aggro like crazy. I'm right in the doorway, murdering things.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm turning anything off. I'm still an aggro off Wednesday doing it.
Okay, we have fun. I mean, all you got to do is kill them before they kill you.
All right, so I thought she was going to go in and just stand in the middle, but then she pulled back to the pillar here. So let's watch this.
Okay, we have fun.
And there she goes.
I mean, all you
All right,
got.
so I saw her attack, and I thought, oh, she's going in. So I'm like, oh, let me go. Yeah, so it looks like just a single target attack that's going to pull attention. They're going to see her and chase. So they start coming in. I go in. And
Kill them before they kill you.
all right, and start engaging with energy absorption, size, screen. But then I see she backed out. So I'm like, let me back out.
Very much a pool.
I didn't realize it was a pull. Now all of a sudden, you know, hey, we're pulling. So it's like a tactical change. Right there, you can see. I just want to kind of pause on that because I was wanting to show this. Chilling Embrace, I got 2 damage procs in it, and you can see That's them right there. I don't know which one it is. I have the wrong window. I don't have my combat window open, but yeah. So anyway, I have Chilling Embrace. I've got Ice Mistral, cold damage, and impeded swiftness smashing damage. The Ice Mistral does more damage, so this is probably the impeded swiftness. But anyway, they proc. So you've got that cold aura around you that triggers as enemies enter it and can fire these damage. So I did get a decent chunk of damage out of those, which I'll probably show you in a minute or so. So let's kind of see where this goes. Help pull.
Very much a pool.
Right. Well done.
Yeah, I think that was it procking again. There's the 26.
Very much a pool.
Bunch of 72s just fired. So I'm thinking that might have been the Ice Mistral going off. It's hard to say. Or that was just the damage I did with my Mass Levitate. These guys are 55, so it might just be a small amount of damage. All right, so there you go. You see the scatter? That's what I keep seeing. Look at these guys. They're freaking running for it. I think it's the Rain of Fire. We don't have any way to control and immobilize. And if you're playing Fire Blaster without some way to keep stuff there, you're in trouble. Plus, I'm pretty sure Charnel's running Fear Aura. I don't know for a fact, though. I know I've seen some fear from her, and if I assassin strike somebody, that's going to trigger some fear. So we have some flee mechanics in play here, and stuff is running a lot.
Those guys are running.
And they're fast.
Blaster would have liked this mission a lot.
One thing I noticed is that my Sonic Nexus actually does some decent work. It's my little pet. You don't see it much, it's behind me. But it has gotten some good kill shots. And it does do a decent amount of controlling, too. When you look at the stats, you'll see that.
Big nukes.
Alright, so let me kind of see if there's any more to this that is super important to take a look at. Alright, skip ahead like a minute or two, and there's this nice, big, juicy room that we're going to get into. This will be good.
Most teams will eat through that anyway.
Alright, so again, huge open room, right? This is not my character's forte, but look at all these targets. And, you know, we don't have any hesitation, right? In goes your tank. Bam, immediately. Yeah, because we're playing without fear at this point. We've only had one death, right? And even that was arguably not because the enemy was great. I just did that extra pull, but here we go. I mean, you got group. There's more stuff this way. Bam, in you go, and just start attacking. Now, is that the smartest move? No, but we're doing it, and it's been working so far, so why stop? And this is the problem when you start facing kind of joke enemies, which most of the game is, at least if you're playing incarnate level characters. So again, I'm like, hey, let me pull. We've got this concentrated fire over here.
How is that support?
So I'm supporting you. So pull them, start bringing them in, right? Plus have some fun with it. We're mopping the floor at these guys. If anything comes this way, what are they going to do? They're just going to get crushed. I don't think Tommy agrees, though. Let me pull somebody from across the room. Because I can.
How is that support?
So I'm getting the aggro off of you guys. They just want to kill me instead.
I have a blast.
Oh, this is the person we need to escort, by the way. It's a long way to walk them out of here.
That can be Mark's call.
I'm sure there's gonna be an ambush. Clearing the room. Oh, nope, he took himself out. He
Oh.
vanished.
What? Did
Yeah,
you,
escort him out.
did you incinerate the prisoner? Tommy just did an oops, I think.
Just did a little weird animation and vanished.
I got two groups. I think looks like they're being merged. I'm kind of hanging back to see how this is going to play out. Because I just saw Wednesday went over here, and now she's dipping this way towards the other one. So you see a bunch of guys aggroing, but then you see a few are maybe not going to follow our tank. So I'm kind of hanging back, trying to see what's going to happen. I don't have any way to really get aggro other than to shoot stuff. You see me do that a couple times, right? So maybe I can shoot and scoot and go this way, or at least kind of hang out because I know, you got squishy fire blaster behind me. So if I just follow the tank directly, and these guys decide to, I'm gonna go mash our blaster now. Brother Hellborn's probably not gonna last very long.
What's going on over here? Nice.
Line up some nice cone work. Again, I got a bunch of guys surrounding me, and I'm using my Chilling Embrace sort of as a taunt, or at least I'm trying to. So if I kind of go slow and keep guys on me, I'm not really worried about it. I have pretty good defenses. I've got a way to absorb and heal and whatever else. So bring them on in. I haven't been getting hit much anyway. Follow me again. And I think there was a good example of where your minus recharge is kicking in. We kind of see that again. All right, so I just was standing with those guys, right? Kind of letting them soak with the Chilling Embrace. Turn around. They're kind of just standing there. You can see the bluish smoke around them. Right there, these two guys. You can kind of see them just not doing much, right? They're kind of like going, huh? This guy maybe. Only this guy came running in. The other one's just sort of standing, staring. Still standing. Now they start to activate. So I hit him again, this time with the Psy Scream. That's probably the lowest of my hit points have gone right there.
There's a glowy over here. Want me to grab it?
Yeah, why not? It's probably the bam thing we need to get out of here. I think this is it. Yep. Done. All right, before we go into any more video action, let's take a look at some of these stats. As mentioned in the output of the pets, not just the Psionic Nexus, but the two Seers. Actually, overall, Null Bind's pets did very well. Probably the best of all these support stalkers at this point, at least consistently speaking. If you take a look here, you can see the cluster of the damage that his pets dealt, and it's clustering pretty high. Here is your median and your average line. Only Zeus's were consistently in that level. Yeah, overexposure had some higher numbers, but that was more outlier, once in a blue moon type of thing. So overall, percentage wise, his numbers were, kicking in that upper percentage, and then the overall numbers, you can kind of see it was fairly consistent. Now, I'm not saying they were lighting it up, doing a bunch of damage, but across the board, they were pretty consistent, pretty reliable as far as damage output. This Nexus, though, was pretty soft. It was dying pretty quickly. So if you could get some way to get that thing preserved longer, I think you get more out of it. But not too shabby, right? Kind of middle of the pack, reliable though. And then the other part of that is the offensive side. I also want to throw this in here. When we take a look at the control numbers, this I think is a significant stat. Percentage of the disruption stat. So when we look at the number of controls that Null Bind was putting out there, knockups, holds, stuns, that sort of thing, his pet was significantly contributing his pets to those numbers. Much more so than any of the other support stalkers. Most of the other support stalkers had, I don't want to say most, but a few of them had like zero, like no disruption at all, no control. Uh, at best, I think the most was like 10 or 12 was the highest, I think, compared. I mean, for him, 12 was his lowest. So he was getting a good 20% of his control was coming from those pets. And that was one of the reasons I wanted that Psionic Nexus, because it does have, I think, 3 or 4 of its attacks all do controls, immobilize, knockback, sleep, that sort of thing. So it's not, crazy numbers, but for his kit, it's an important contributing factor. So that's something to consider when you look at his overall, utility. So he's getting his own minus rechargey stuff going on, his own ability to debilitate enemies, and now his pets are contributing a decent chunk of overall controls. We take a look at the rest of his pets' offensive stats. Null Bind, you're looking here in the gray. This is the pet's damage output versus the character's damage output. And again, you can kind of see his slope is over here. It's one of the steeper slopes of the bunch. Much more than, let's say, an Uncaged Psyche. Pretty close to the others. 006 is 007. So 008, not hugely, jumping off the page at you, but it's shown that his pets are a part of his kit, an important part for him at least. And then his pet's damage versus the foe defeats, how much damage were they putting out before our foe went down? Again, he had the highest number of the group. 110 is his slope versus 92 for overexposure, 93 for Zaus, 69 for Dead Cell, and Uncaged had only 18, 19 there. So he is getting a decent chunk of output for his from his pets there for this to put down enemies. So his pets are part of his kit, important part of the kit, and figure out a way to kind of optimize them. I think they could be even better. So overall, his pets were much more useful than the other stalkers were. Not controller levels, not defender levels, but for a stalker, that ain't too shabby, I think. All right, so let's get back to this video. We're on mission 3 now out of 5. And I think here's where you're going to see some of the concerns I was having earlier by the way we were playing that loosey-goosey run and gun style. I think this is where it's going to come back and bite us, because our new enemies aren't the nice, soft, squishy Cray. Our new enemies are going to be our friends, the Vanguard. Okay, and the Vanguard are notorious, at least for me, as being ass kickers. I remember when they first came out, the Ricky Warzone, and running some of those repeatable missions from Boria or whatever. And you get the ones that just like the Rick D, which are stroll enough. But then you get, oh, Vanguard, let's take these guys on. They're probably just like Longbow or something like that. No, these guys are brutal, especially if they got that curse on you. Nebo's curse or whatever the heck it's called, I forget. But anyway, bang, here we are, Vanguard enemies. And we've been playing, right? Go in there, beat their ass, blow them up. Ha ha, funny. Let's see how that plays out with this group. These assholes. Oh, I hate these guys.
Gosh,
I'm gonna do that.
These guys suck.
So they don't have that curse, do they?
Yeah, they got all
Oh,
that stuff.
fuck. Come. Oh, dude, this is gonna be bad. All right, check it out. Look at what's happening. Remember what I was suggesting would have been a good ideas before. You got a big old room, right? We're coming in here. There's a group right here ahead of us. Noob trap. There's another group right over here. We're not pulling, right? Fuck pulling. We don't pull this team, right? We dive in there. All right, I opened up through the door, get their attention, because I was like, oh, let's blast them and bring them in or soften them up, minus recharge thing, right? Charnel's diving in there. Immediately, I see her just getting freaking swarming. Right? She's down to half health already within seconds. I'm like, okay, we got to do something to get these guys off her. All right. Gather for stalker buffs. This whole group over here is coming. There's a huge group of Vanguard from the side. Their perception is like 801 style perception. We're taking from the other side too, by the way. Oh, I'm taking huge damage.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bang, there's my first death within seconds of being on this map. Down, out. This guy just like slashed me with his little claws. Oh, whoa, come on now. What was that
They got I heard it. You got meleeed.
All right, now we're backing out. You see Nate's backing into the hallway. Click my thingy. Brother, I don't know why Hellborn, he needs to get the hell out of this room.
Come on. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
I don't know why I just froze myself right there, but I did.
All right.
I might get myself back into the fight real quick if I have not getting stunned. All right, so Guyve has gone dwarf mode to help tank. Nate's taking some hits in the doorway.
And that was like just as I was
They
clicking.
got vengeance off. Yeah, I was just trying to do Icy Bastion when bang, that frickin' thing like just swarmed me. Yeah, that was bad. All right, so there you go. That was just, pair of Vanguard mobs. No big deal. All right. Well, we got the next one. We're ready this time.
All right. Well, I took one for the team.
Good job.
Thank you for saving us.
You're welcome.
These guys mocking my Stalker support ability. Bam. Look at that.
Dude, what the hell was that? They just this.
Something's got channel.
Yeah, they finally found her weakness.
I wonder what kind of damage it was.
Charnel starts getting worked. So they've had the tank on the ropes twice so far. This is crazy.
Dark energy melee brute.
Okay.
And I remember when the Vanguard came out, I was like, oh yeah, I got this. And they ate me alive.
Yeah, Guyve's recalling his first experience with dark armor against Vanguard. All right, so notice a little bit more hesitancy now. You see our tanks just not diving in. She's throwing out Darkest Night. Let's throw that over here and get that minus hit, get that minus damage. I think the issue is that we are open, right? It's like no line of sight blocking. And the other problem is, we're more used to, you kind of see us all sort of standing there going, okay, I guess we're going in because we've been doing that, right? Dive in. Also, we're not diving in, looks like. All right, we pulling now? So our tactics are shifting. In comes the ranged hell.
I'm gonna go hide where she is.
And so again, I'm like recognizing the play. All right, she's pulling. Let me get the frick back. I don't know if other people are able to do that, but they got all kinds of burn patches. You don't want to be standing in the open trying to have a ranged fight with the Vanguard.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Oh
no.
Freaking fire patches. There's fire patches.
I think Charnel changes her mind because sees the team is just getting roasted.
Freaking wizards.
I think those are mine.
I don't think so.
Give has inflame on him.
Bam, get him.
All right, Charnel's pulling to a corner, but frickin' Guyve, look at that. He's standing open, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, he's standing out in the open. He's just getting pummeled over here. This is what we were doing before that was working okay. He's like running for his life.
Dog, you're killing me.
I think there's a second group is what I'm gathering here. Look at this. Bam, bam, bam. Nate knockdown's going in there. He's trying to get a big Nova off, I think. Yeah, look at this. This is bad positioning. Again, we've punched too deep. We've overlooked a side group, right? We came in. Guy must have seen him. I didn't see him over there, right? So Guy had gone over here. I don't know if he aggroed them, saw them, whatever, reacted to them. But he'd gone over there. And you saw him like, oh crap, was getting pummeled and ran this way and hid. Then you had Wednesday had dove in.
here, and then Nate went behind her, did his nuke, and then he, I think, went whoosh, and dipped over this way somewhere, if I recall. Meanwhile, Hellborn's back here totally alone, getting effing pummeled. And look who's coming. There's another guy over there. There's this person here, I think. He's just like surrounded by at least 3 or 4 Vanguard. I don't know if that's another one right there. It looks like there's 4 Vanguard around him. More are coming. They're all just like, oh, blaster meat. He's isolated. I've moved into my melee support role next to my tank. This is where I'm supposed to be. And it's just bad, right? We're all split up. We're all isolated. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing. And the team's going to get carved up like a turkey. Our blaster in the back, because there's aggro. He's done. I mean, his only choice was just to close in the melee with us. Okay, I'm taking friction mode. Yeah, there's another group over there. So I think, yeah, that group over there is what aggroed. Were they aggroing already? They do have really great perception. I don't know. See, there's the knockback from Ragnarok.
Oh, my escape bind. I forgot I had that.
I don't know. Hellborn's taking a beating again. So, I mean, you see, each time we've taken on a double group, there's been team defeat. These Vanguard aren't playing. Look at this group. All right. She's doing a little pull, and then, yeah, right there. Not a good move. We've just been having trouble, right, with more than one group of Vanguard. There's a group right here for sure. I saw another group back there. This is a larger room, so there's got to be something over here, right? Maybe something around this quarter. I don't know. We really need to be pulling at this point. These guys are just way too much firepower. We've got this nice narrow door right here. Let's break our line of sight over here, whatever, and set up that nice, kill box right here. Pull this stuff in here and just obliterate it. Instead, we got 2 players are diving in there. Now, again, that's kind of where I need to be. I need to be up where these guys are. Do I hang back here and use my range stuff, which I have enough, but it's kind of defeating the point of what this character is built to do. I need to get in the group. So my thinking would be let's pull them in. Let's get them in here. And while they're in this room or this little narrow corridor where I'm standing would be great, because then I've got this concentrated minus speed, minus recharge around me, and I can really start slowing the crap out of stuff and debilitating them.
I just had to turn on my archetype icons of my player names.
I don't like this position. Yeah, fire. Too much fire. Too much fire. Yeah, okay, there it is. There is another. Oh, shit. Now check this out. So there is another group over here. There is this group here who's now just aggroed. You can see them. They're now aggroed. These guys were aggroed already, and we're fighting the current group in the front. So we got 3 groups. We couldn't even handle 2. And now we got 3. We're already now 2 down, and your tank is one of them. Bam, bam. Again, diving in, running and gunning loosey-goosey is not the way to fight these Vanguard at all. Charnel's down. Everybody's down. What the frick? No, no, no. Get out of there. Bang. Then I go down. Both blasters are down at this point. Guy's your only survivor. My lord. They're wiping us.
It's up to God, damn.
Come on, Guy. And Guy goes down. Team wipe. I can't remember the last team wipe as far as like DEF CON or whatever. Yeah, we've had them in the DEF CON 801s, but just in the original ones or the Stalker or Support Stalker test, I don't think we've had too many team wipe since way early on a mayhem mission, if I recall. This is very rare for one of these tests to happen. 801 Aftermath DEF CON, yeah, we've had team wipes. That kind of was the whole point of the test. But here, with these more standard level content, you're not expecting it. But I think that's the thing with these Kallisti Wharf mobs. So that's like, what, 7 deaths in the first few minutes of this mission? So at this point, we're going to have to change tactics. We cannot withstand their firepower. I don't have any healing, right? I don't have shields. All I can do with this guy is get into that group of dudes and start slowing them down. But right now, we're taking way too much range fire from too many directions, too much aggro. We got to concentrate things into a more confined space. I think if we do that, Charnel's debuffs, my debuffs can stack. Because when I first saw, oh, Charnel's coming, this actually be good. Because I'm thinking, all right, we got some, debuffing from our brute. I'm sorry, tank. Right? So if, she's here with her minus to hit and fear, those types of powers here around her. And then I'm standing right next to her with my minus speed, minus damage, minus recharge, right? Those two auras should be debuff city. And then at that point, you just got your blasters just concentrating everything in one area. It's going to get annihilated like we were doing. But we're just playing, run and gun and see what happens. And you can see, bang, it's not working. So let's see if our strategy changes or not. I get him. Oh, man. Hilarious. Right, so Give starts getting us up. Teleporting us.
Don't use it.
A couple people went to the hospital. Give's down after TPing me out of the way. Oh, no, don't kill me. I'm okay.
I'm gonna go to the hospital.
I'm gonna run. Damn, what were they?
Yeah, they do dash resist to all. Negative resist.
They shouldn't be able to see me, dude.
Pull that room into that hallway.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying
Seems like when they hit us
to
with
shed this aggro. Let me shed this aggro
first
first.
floor and our resistance.
So now we're talking about pulling into the hallway, right? Which, yeah,
Probably why
of course.
Wednesdays all resist. That's probably why she like, went down for the count.
Got his ass. All right, now got our 2 beefy types. Got a nice pull into a small space.
Nate.
And these are 55s.
Zeta was looking so
Wednesday ruined it. So I think yeah, so she taking blame for the team wipe. That's funny. Team wipe. Well, luckily we don't have team wipes on this. Alright, so now, alright, look what we're doing. Wednesday is now pulling to the doorway, which is what I think is going to make sense for us, right? Bang. Alright, so here's the difference between like a noob and a pro. You got Wednesday going, yeah, we're having fun, running around, messing around, killing stuff, cray, ha. Oh, Vanguard, what's the big deal? Bam, bam, you get smoked a couple times, team gets wiped, and now it's like, okay, let's change tactics. And boom, she's doing it. Another thing I'm learning from the 5 lives testing challenge stuff that I'm messing around with is that the tank doesn't have to be the vanguard point of the spear every time. If you got, and we don't have it, but like I'm finding out in that 5 lives stuff, like the controls are super important. Alpha-ing with a control. In this scenario, I think we ought to be opening with some range stuff, right? A ranged pull. We've got 2 blasters, Peacebringer, who can fire at range. I've got a snipe. So we got 4 of us who have a ranged attack that we could pull. So it shouldn't have to be on your tank all the time. And I think it's good if people recognize that, where the tank's like, hey, I tell you what, one of you guys pull, I'll snag them as soon as they come through the door. She does have a toggle pull, so that is another option. But it's just, thing to understand is that too many people rely upon follow the tank, go with the tank. The tank's always in lead. Tank knows best. Tank, 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 tank. Oh, we don't have a tank. We can't do it. Sure, you can, and you don't always have to have the tank doing everything.
Thanks, guys.
Look at that. Charnel gets the big heal.
Debuffing me so bad.
And it's fast.
Whoa. Oh, nice.
Charnel is down again. She's too exposed out there.
Damn, Charnel went down again.
Now Guy's down. Nate's down.
Oh.
Brother's down.
Chance to fairy powers. But nice of the Phoenix.
Dang.
Too loud of destiny.
Tier 4 barrier. T4 barrier, man.
Tier 4 barrier. We got this. Come on.
That's a speed run. Oh, look at that. I just got like. I was okay.
Barrier.
I got 3/4 of my health. Doing fine. Bam, half health.
Got this. Come on.
And I'm dead. It's like bam, bam. 2 hits just totally smoked me. Oh,
what the
But we're holding our position much better because we're narrowing the line of fire. This is what I mean when you hear me talk about getting small. This is what we needed to do against these guys from the get-go. If we can get small, if we can sit here and limit the angles of fire, right? Here's this doorway. If we can stay off to the sides, limit their angles of incoming, right? So that they can, they can't just unload on everybody. They have to take sharp angles at us from either direction. It makes it so that you're able to eliminate a lot of the incoming pressure. Now they have some AoE like burn patchy stuff, so that's not going to be the only thing. But you definitely see we're kind of holding our own much longer than if we were standing in the middle of that room.
We're just doing fucking huge hits.
Yeah, they're just eating us alive.
I got vengeance done.
Uh-oh. All right, I got a wakey, but I'm not going to do it. This lightning field on me.
It's level 55s.
I think I can get up. We can do this.
This is one of those mobs where I think you need lots of control.
Yeah, I told you to bring a Dominator.
Yeah, no, Tommy's right. Like, you need, again, that's kind of my other point about your tank's the only thing you need damage right now. If you have some control, you can definitely hold these guys back. Because if you're able to control half of them, that's 50% damage reduction.
Better support.
You might need to pull.
You think? Yeah, I think. It's like we gotta pull. I mean, there's just no way. You can't keep
Guy over to the left.
diving in there.
Guys.
Plus, the mobs seem to be spread out. Two shot his ass. For those holds I was getting from my cryonic. Alright, so got those groups done. Now let's see what we're going to do. Alright, here's my thinking. Alright, I see 2 groups. What we would have done, and hopefully we don't do this again, but what we've been doing is like, oh, let's run this way towards these guys and maybe throw something at these guys and pull them all and then fight them right here. Bad idea. Alright, these guys are probably not going to want to charge in right away. They're going to start ranging you. These guys have a lot of AoE shit. Plus, there's probably more of these guys over here. I think your smart move is, either staying here or going over here, blocking line of sight, bring these guys this way, and then crush them. Stop staying in the middle of the map. And these maps have really been bad for this build. I already mentioned this, but again, it's just way too open. It's hard for me to get concentrated debuff on anything. He's a walking suppression machine. So if he can get in there and get them tight, he's got a way to defend the team better. Two words we don't want to hear. Buy it bad. All right, yeah, so Wednesday's doing exactly what I was thinking. Small group. I don't know if they're part of the other group or what.
Shoot.
Oh, I love it. I love those fire blasters. Check that out. He just smoked that guy. Oh, well, luckily, hopefully that's the only group in here that's left.
Uh-oh.
Other oops.
Range. I forgot this. He's got high range. Underestimated how much.
Oh, they're coming. Yeah, see, that's over her taunt cap, right? I mean, look at all those guys. I fired a few times just to kind of pull some aggro and get the debuff on them as they're entering combat. No way she's going to hold all that aggro. Don't do it. I'm being a lot quicker with my Icy Bastion now. Bunch of 55s in this map. Dang, dudes. Well, I will say we're moving with a quickness. Okay, another ugly room. All right, to me, a smart play is pull them right here and smoke them. Let's see what we do.
It's dark in here.
I think that's what she's doing. Again, see, the team is being super eager, chasing right behind the tank all the time. And I think we've got most people with stealth. But these guys have that great perception. So it's just... And I see... all right, here's what I see she's doing. She's gonna pull with Darkest Night, I think. And then probably come over here, which is fine to break the LOS. But this is such a wide corner. And these guys are already over here. So they don't need to but maybe step 1 foot this way and then start blasting away. Plus, the problem is when you're doing sort of a line of sight pull, breaking sort of idea, you need your team behind you as the tank, right? You want the attention on you and pulling stuff this way. But the problem is our team is over here, right? We're back here. So if we're over here with our tank breaking line of sight for her, it's not breaking for the team, right? They're just gonna come this way. So it forces us all to have to try to move this way. And then the other problem there is that this is a dead man's corner over here, right? There's no escape. So if you go over here to break line of sight, you're gonna be in a corner. These guys are firing at you. Now you're gonna have to try to run, get out of here, taking fire. Again, to me, I think the idea would have been better to pull to the doorway, that whole group right there. And maybe that's what maybe that's what Charno was thinking. I don't know. But then the team is right behind her. So as a tank, you're like, okay, I'm pulling. And then, oh shit, the team's right here. Oh, let me go over there. Is that what's going on? I don't know. You'd have to ask Wednesday. But there was just a lot of just over aggressive, blaster type of play. Pull, right? Shit, I come. I'm waiting. Like, look at Brother Hellborn's position. Like, that is, like, really dangerous. He's way close to the action. And he doesn't need to be, right? He's a blaster. He's got a lot of range. Hang back, bro. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see where she's going with this. Because I want her to get the stuff in there where she wants it. And then I'm going to come in there and unload on somebody. I'm going to snipe this wizard. I scream, knockback, cryonic. All right, works out. Okay. That's how support stalkers do it. All right, another ugly area. So again, we need to pull, and I think that's what Charles doing. So I don't think this is all on Charles. Charles can't be pulling all the time with Darkest Night because it requires her to get super close. Completely open map. You're taking fire the whole way through. Dark Armor's best in melee range. We got your heals and your debuffs and all that sort of thing, right? Why aren't we pulling with some ranged attacks here? Another freaking wizard. Gonna snipe his fool ass. And the other thing I noticed the Vanguard seem to be typically doing is they have stragglers. So while the main group is here, which is great, if you aren't careful, these guys start plinking you from range. Alright, so I want to snipe this wizard. Yeah, see those guys are, the plinkers are firing from range. Okay, much smoother now. We're taking one at a time. Pulling. This map would make a great 8-1. And just concentrating our fire on them. This map would make a great 8-1, huh? I see how she's got to stand there.
Yeah, I like this. These
Take a beating.
at the end of these like warehouse places, factories, and all that.
Fire damage.
I like most of the maps in this zone.
That's crazy damage I'm taking. My defenses are pretty good. I mean, if they're just hitting me right through it, don't matter. Especially those burn patches. I got obliterated. This room is ugly down. These other little pockets there.
Yeah, because sometimes there's dudes hiding in there.
I like that. And Wednesday night I think will like a lot. Watch what she's doing here. So she goes up to get aggro, but look where she puts her Darkest Night.
Sometimes there's dudes hiding.
This is like Defender 101, I think. I think that's why Wednesday knows what I'm thinking. This is what I would have done. Look at it. She's up here, right? She's getting in their face, kind of taunt. But then she throws her Darkest Night toggle back here. And the whole point of that is this is going to aggro stuff that's deep, that's not being triggered by your initial just sort of presence. And it's getting a debuff on the range stuff, which is probably your greatest risk at this point. And it's going to aggro all this stuff back here. So her proximity is aggroing the front. And then her Darkest Night toggle's aggroing the back. So she's getting a 2-for-1 on the groups. So she's using her position and her toggle to get more aggro than you normally could. Now that she's got the attention, I'm like, all right, fine. I want to unload. So I'm going to debuff them on their way in. Boom. Get a little Ragnarok knockdown. I hit, I don't know, 6 of them with that thing. Crits. Minus recharge.
Like right now, right behind us.
Cryonic. Oh, no. Now here again, this is my thing I was talking about earlier about getting where, getting too deep and watching behind you, that sort of thing. Because here we are, we got that corner, right? We're pulling, we're breaking the LOS here. And, when the tank is pulling to a location, the team typically is trying to get behind them. But the problem behind them is there's a group right here. And so it looks like Brother Hellborn has gone to that sort of, correct position. But there's a group right there that he's saying can aggro. But I don't know if he didn't think he was going to aggro them or whatever. But he's naked right now, right? There's a whole freaking group of like a dozen dudes. We have no control over them, no aggro over them. And he's got his back to them. I'm seeing him going, he's dead. There's nothing I can do. Now let's see if that happens or not. I don't know, but watch out. You're on Hellebore.
Yeah, I know.
You're effed. Yeah, right there. So at this point, I'm moving out of the way because I'm like, okay, they're going to come after Blaster. There was nothing, I couldn't go in there and stop them. So I'm hoping now is they're going to continue in this direction towards tank because I'm assuming Charnel will get their attention. So I kind of move myself this way so I can start lining up the action because I'd already coned once. I'm thinking if I can get this position here as these guys move in, I'll be able to start leveraging some of that cone goodness. So I scream, and then I'll be able to move in and start putting debuff. But again, I'm in a bad spot. Like I want to be in that melee action, but I don't want to be taking a bunch of ranged attacks from people with that much firepower. It looks like Guy just unloaded on them. You're done. There's nothing I could do for you. All right, and a Guy goes dwarf. All right, now we've lost containment, right? Because at this point, remember it happened as Wednesday was pulling in, I had hit with 2 cones. I hit Scream, and then I hit Cryonic as I moved over here. That's when I looked and I saw that Brother Hellborn was pulling aggro. So then I move over here to avoid that. Now at this point, now I've got this loose, like that's actually my seer right there, loose aggros on main. I'm taking a bunch of fire. Charnel's getting hit from 2 sides now. Guyve has to switch to dwarf mode to try to taunt or get some extra damage. Nate, I don't know where the hell Nate is at this point. He's probably behind me somewhere. It's just freaking bedlam. So again, now we got 2 groups. We stopped doing what was working where, hey, let's pull them over to a little section. I think the pull here should have been not in that direction. Again, hindsight's 2020, right? But hey, the pull would have been better if we pulled them back in this direction to keep distance from that other group over here. So you gotta watch where you're pulling to.
That's okay. Rise of Phoenix.
I got vengeance off.
Okay, this is where I want to be, right here. You were just pulling, right?
Support.
Bye.
I got him.
Ooh, I got a badge.
Yeah, that's right, that.
Ooh, it's a Vanguard badge. Rear guard. I'm gonna make that mine.
Already taken.
What? Oh, badge. Oh crap! I'm out the way.
A guy was pulling pranks on us. All right, that was fucking classic right there, right? That's what I'm calling a nice pull. Look at this. Here's your scenario, right? Mob back here. Corner right here. Watch what you see your tank do. Tank comes over here, sees the situation, gets their attention. I think Darkest Night again. And then over here. All right? Line of sight is now broken. They're all going to get clumped right in here. All these Vanguard freaks. Perfect position for crunch from your blasters. I can cone the crap out of them from here, get into melee, go nuts. This is a perfect place to pull.
My name.
Already taken.
What?
And I also see Wednesday's kind of waiting, getting herself health back up. Here they come.
Oh crap! I'm out the way. See what Wednesday
These guys are lined up beautifully. Bam. There we go. Perfect. Boom. Destruction. There's those 2 stragglers in the back there. They don't even want a part of this. Crushed. All right. Perfect. Bang. End of the mission. That's what I'm talking about. Oop. Let's pause this. Let's go take a look at some of these stats now that we got some death numbers. Give me 1 second. All right, let's check this out. All right, here we go. Survivability. These are my defeats. As you can see, that mission was the only time this character died. Right? I was 3 deaths right there. 17 minutes, 0.176. So when you look at the initial, kind of numbers here, you're going, oh crap, look at this. You died a lot. No, overall my stalkers weren't dying much at all. And he was fine except for that one mission, and the fact that just that we were kind of on a speed run here is what makes us look bad at all. But it really was just that one outlying data point. Everything else was down here like everybody else's was. So I don't look at this and go, "Oh my God, he's terrible." Same thing here. I mean, his average is just skewed because of that one data point. Most of the stuff is down here, 0, right, with everybody else. So overall, survivability is very high with this character, with this build, at least on this team, even given that one bad mission. The rest of the missions you're going to see coming up, no deaths. Then we take a look at the ally defeats. A similar story. We were doing fine, right? No deaths in the first mission, only 1 in the second mission, which is arguably my fault. And then the third mission here, this is just where we were not changing our tactics fast enough. We had the team wipe. 12 defeats. I mean, this is like probably the worst, or if not one of the worst, single mission defeats that, at least on my stalker side, is recorded. I think Dead Cell had one that was up there as well, which is why you see his numbers are pretty high. But for the stalkers, for the most part, the teams have been very safe. Now, hey, is that just because of stalker? No. I mean, obviously, there's more to it than that. But it is showing you that you are capable of supporting, or at least the team not dying a bunch, even though you're just playing a stalker. So anyway, take a look here. Again, it looks probably worse than it is. It's really that one mission that's skewing the data a bunch. That's why you see this big spread. The line you really kind of pay attention to is this. This is the median line right here. That's the mean. All right, that's the average. Here's the median. That's the middle number. So if you look at this number, half the missions are less than that, and half the missions are more than that. So for the most part, his missions were safer than Dead Cell's were, but the average is skewed because of that huge 12, and that's, I think, this data point here. That's that rate of 0.12. So it's brought super high up here, and skewing us up super far because of the one mission. So overall, the team was safe except for really the Vanguard mission. Yeah, we are gonna have some deaths coming up in a second, but I can accept 5 deaths. 12, no, I can't do that. That's a problem. All right, let's go ahead and play this next mission. Now, this is the first time, well, I don't say the very first, at least the first time for this series anyway, that we take on the not peace bringers, what do they call these guys? Peacekeepers. And here's immediately what I'm seeing. I'm gonna check this out. As soon as we walk in the door, there's one of them setting traps, like right there at the door, which is hilarious. This whole group, this faction, I got to give it to the devs. These guys are a really cool group, tough group to fight, and they're going to give us something to think about. But again, I like this map though. Like, look, this is tight spaces, tight corners, smaller hallways. I can leverage my abilities to their maximum. Those last 3 missions were these big open lab rooms, terrible. Couldn't get good concentrated debuff on anybody. So let's see how things go here. Now, Charnel's not even on the map yet, but we log in and there's zone in, and there's people right there immediately aggro to us. Right there, putting some freaking bombs down.
He's probably going right for Tommy.
Yeah, it's like, I heard there's a blaster at the door. So, I mean, I'm trying to take tank role at this point. So I'm going to go to the front. There's no point me standing back by the door. So I go to the front, and I'm trying to leverage that aura. So I'm staying tight, staying small, bring these things in to where the debuffs are, and then start beating on them. This also opens up line of sight for my blaster friends back here, who can then unload from behind me while everything's trying to get to, like, what the hell is this slow aura? Who is slowing me? Let me go kill it. So I know I can't taunt, but at least I can debuff. That should pull some aggro.
Exactly.
There's a blaster at the door. But you are noticed, like, they just kind of run by me to go kill the guys behind me. I don't know, maybe guy I've taunted as a dwarf or something like that. Tank spank yet.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I was
they don't. They don't ease you in, do they?
They're just hitting it. Guy's taking a beating.
Oh yeah, you got that.
The target on your
thing above
back.
head. Yeah, that means that you're taunting. It's a taunt.
Took huge hits.
Incoming.
Oh no, I'm in a ice cube.
Like, where'd you pull him to?
Wednesday's got him.
Oh,
Yeah, these guys are like just dropping trip mines on the fly, which I wish you could do that as a player. Apparently no interrupt on their trip mine. Oh, freaking guy. Guy just like a huge boom. I don't even know where he is. He goes off with a big boom. He's to my left. Guys behind him maybe are shooting him. These guys got quantum shit too. Oh, frick. You can buy that stuff anywhere apparently. Except at the black market.
About to just drain the shit out of that guy.
Yeah, that guy just did not get thrown up by mass levitate at all.
yeah, they don't. Bonfires did nothing to them. I think they ignore knockback.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Effects.
Gun drone behind you guys shooting you. Alright, so the gun drone's behind there, but I know side damage is not going to do much to it anyway. I see Charnel's up ahead and taking damage, so I move up to support her position. I like this position, not for her, but I'm like looking at this, like, ooh, look, a nice narrow little doorway. I can get myself in here, start to leverage that Chilling Embrace debuffs plus the mass levitate. This is perfect.
Step in the door.
Mass levitate. No. Go ice cube mode, I think.
Congrats.
I'm on a burn patch or something in there.
There's a glue grenade down in here.
Yeah, they're just concentrating their firepower. They're going off. I like it. I have to bring my DEFCONs in here for some retesting of my originals.
Yeah, I'll do it.
It's not as better than standard council and shit.
Circle of Thorns.
All these freaking trip mines, this whole hallway. Check this out. There's one there. Might be one over there, I think. It's got multiple trip mines just standing in the hallway. So if you do the old, charge in maneuver, trigger, boom, you're gonna blow up a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. These guys are devious little fellas.
Best part about this place, no caves.
Whoa. Alright, so I throw the debuff down the hallway and then duck out of line of sight, trying to again pull anything that is aggroed towards me and not just shooting straight down the hallway at all of us.
Yeah, I'm getting rocked.
I'm not sure what the hell's killing them back there. Better than standard council and shit. It's all dead.
Circle of Thorns.
Alright, so there's a bunch of explosions are coming down. Charles moving up to hold the line. Nate's already taking some huge hits. So unless there's a guy behind me that I didn't see, he might just be taking the range stuff.
Best part about
Alright, so there he is. He's firing away.
this place, no caves.
Yeah, they're just smoking. They're shooting straight down. Yeah, right there. I think it's a burn patch or something because it was doing a bunch of ticks to me. That's at all.
Yeah, I'm getting.
All Alright, so I'm going to go up where Charnel's got them all gathered, and then debuff mass levitate.
Rise of the Phoenix!
That's it, I'm going ice cube mode. We got some aggro from the vault section now, too. Alright, so I see the vault's coming. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. So the vault is coming. Trying to debuff down some damage. I just unload down the hallway. Because I think I threw down a cryonic. I'm like, well, they're coming anywhere. So I might as well hit them on the way in.
Oh man, this boss is whooping my ass.
There's definitely somebody behind us pounding on. Took out Guy, took out Brother. Hellborn.
So did Geef.
Uh-oh. Yeah, if we could have more map missions like this,
Stalker mode engaged.
I would have been going off.
I got vengeance off.
Well, if I'm teaming with you, you're bound to be able to use vengeance. Excuse me. I'm just waiting till it's safe to pop up.
Dude, did he just combat teleport on you?
I think
Yep.
Somebody just placated Charnel with Phantom. Oh, and then there's a Quantum in the doorway by the vault.
Start drilling him. So I like to kind of stand there and let my debuffs work while ranging people.
Crazy mobility. Just go right past the tank.
Sears are going off.
Oh, they got traps galore in this vault.
So just running past the tank, I don't care.
Screw them.
Freaking combat medic.
ambush in the back.
Oh no.
Incoming.
Hopefully,
Alright, so I go after Nate calls the ambush. I just move up because, again, I'm like, well, Carno's busy, so what am I going to do? Like, run after her? So I go back this way, and at least I can use, you know, the Chilling Embrace, the Mass Levitate to get the attention of some of these guys. Fire Size Scream down here. I'm just trying to delay. If I can slow stuff down, that's kind of this guy's thing. Suppress, slow them, delay them, hesitate, so that the team has a chance to recover. So I go down here to do that.
hopefully Charnel turns around.
Gonna do much.
Got people around me.
Stalker's got it. Oh, they're drained. Now it's time for the pain.
And I saw somebody get res. They can res each other.
I think they just res. Did they just res somebody?
Yep, they'll res.
Are you fucking kidding me? They got res.
And they can, their combat medic can res people.
Kill him and fuck just hurt him.
And he has a pretty hefty heal too.
Yeah, and he throws down the triage beacon. I noticed. Interesting.
Nate's getting, I think, his ass kicked around the corner.
You bastards.
Charnel's taunting me again.
Oh, yes, look, she just got confused. Now she's got me taunted again. Charnel, get yourself some confused protection, would you?
Shit, she's got me taunted.
Thank you guys.
So I feel like this is the first mission, and I'm actually able to use this build to what it's designed to do.
More coming.
Frickin'
Don't
medic.
get comfortable.
This was a fun mission, though. Say goodnight to that medic.
Maybe it would help if I had my sustain on. Think that would help?
Probably.
It's been off this whole time.
Nice. So Tommy realizes on his blaster he hasn't had his sustained power work in this whole set of missions. It's crazy. Damn. Anything else?
Not till you get the treasure. I think. Oh, bombs! There's bombs everywhere.
We got to go in the vault.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, well, side damage and metal doors don't mix too well.
It's okay. I got fire. Oh, short work of that.
Get the cash.
There's gonna be a ton of them.
Oh wait, more?
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
And one teleports behind us. The medic teleports behind us. They're setting up traps.
Do they?
Teleport.
What do you mean?
We got him.
I think this is kind of the first mob that actually uses teleport smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no problem with this. These guys doing this shit. It's kind of interesting. I'll just do this to the rest of the game. We'll be all set.
Can you imagine the whining?
Well, you know what? I mean, come on. The people playing the game now have
You
been.
have to work to get to this.
I mean, that would actually give the game a hell of a lot more life if you just revamped all those old mobs and missions and stuff to
I
be
was reading
challenging.
complaining. He didn't want any of the mobs changed. He wants them all to be exactly the same.
Yeah,
as
well then go make your own private server.
I know.
Right, there it is.
I mean, you got to give this game something.
It needs a little life. It's almost 20 years old.
Exactly. I think they can do a lot with the bones just by stuff like that. Alter the AI and. All right, I think that is just about the end. I got one more group to go. That's kind of the genius with the 801s is that it's not doing anything weird. It's just the same old stuff, but stuff that you don't normally see.
Yeah, I love those repels and the 801s.
Yeah.
As frustrating as they are, it's kind of fun to watch your character float.
Yeah, that's what the stuff. That's why I was putting that stuff in those drift guards. I was like, this will be fun. You get some. I hate the big bubble one. That it's fun if there's every now and then, but. So I put the single target ones. All right, there we go. Done.
Anything from Chip or that other.
All right, let's take a look at our other stats that we have to talk about. Resilience. This is the damage taken. I think that last mission is going to showcase something important. So you remember the first couple missions were just cray and we're just steamrolling everything. Then we got to the Vanguard, right? Boom, it's like my biggest spike of damage, 1339. And that was even those big open maps. Now compare that to the one right there where it was super tight quarters against those Peacekeeper guys. So even though we're in much tighter space, they're really dangerous opponents. They're not even doing as much damage as the dang Vanguard we're doing. So no defeats for me during this mission. Took less damage than I was standing in close quarters than I was at the range thing. So I think this is kind of showing how this guy is much more capable of doing better if he's in a smaller confined space. So the resilience numbers are pretty solid. Overall, though, I mean, he was taking a decent amount of damage per minute comparing to Dead Cell. So the two of them were, I guess arguably the worst as far as stalkers, as far as taking damage per minute goes, versus let's say Zaus down here, who's also a defensive built stalker. He was barely taking anything. But it really all to me kind of comes down to that one mission, right? I mean, that was the really bad one. These other two weren't so bad, 12 and 13,000, not too bad, but and the rates are in the, what is it? This is the composites. That's the right here. So 310, 229. So we got, numbers for the most part. I don't say middle of the pack, but upper third of the grouping right now. Zeus was clearly ahead of everybody else. You got overexposure and uncaged, you're kind of relatively the same. And Dead Cell and Null Bind are on par with each other. I think about I'll say here, and it's kind of similar kind of idea here, is Dead Cell's team was not playing to his strengths too well either. He was very, not that the team isn't doing what they should do, but the strengths of both Dead Cell and Null Bind I think are very similar. That stutter build where I had sleeps and that sort of minus endurance things getting in tight, causing debilitating debuffery in melee. Same idea with their Null Bind. So these two guys have a similar concept, and the team isn't built or doing that sort of mechanic, right? They're doing, like you see in this group, a bunch of range stuff. So I think when you're making your stalker or whatever, they can be kind of niche, as to how they work. I mean, all stalkers are melee in general anyway, so you have to be in melees. But if you're with a team that isn't gonna let you kind of put that puzzle piece into place, it ultimately ends up with you being unable to do your job as effectively as you could do if everything was perfect. Then take a look at some of these derived metrics from resilience. Now that we have more of the data, how much damage is he taking for the defeat of the allies? So in other words, kind of like a tanking metric. Is there anything here that is he's taking more damage? Allies are being defeated or not? You can see his numbers are actually fairly low on the slope side of things. I mean, it's the lowest slope. So the enemy, his allies are being defeated. He's not taking a ton of damage. So it's like he's separate from what's happening to the team. Right? The team's having defeats, yes, some of the highest numbers of defeats, but he's not taking a pounding. So I think that's kind of again getting to the fact that we have this different strategy we're doing where players are being hit a bunch and there's nothing like I don't want to say that I can do about it, but I'm not in the mix of it to share that damage. And I think it's because we had that mostly ranged blasting style going. So I think that's what we're seeing here. Then we go ahead and take a look at damage versus personal defeats. And, is he taking gobs of damage and getting his butt kicked? Let's take a look at that. He's 7,500 per defeat. That's a fairly low slope again, so he's not taking a bunch of damage per defeat. Compare that to the 10,000, the 15,000, the 25,000. Zeus was never defeated, so it doesn't even matter for him. So he's got one of the lowest incoming damage per defeat. So I think what we're seeing here is that he's getting spiked. So he's not getting hit very much, and when he does get hit, he's getting hit huge amounts, which can then lead to him being defeated. But it's very infrequent. And I think that goes to one of his biggest metrics that I think makes him stand apart from others that I want to show you. And that's avoidance. Because here is the one area where he dominates the other stalkers. And that's this idea of how many hits you're taking. Avoidance. So if you take a look at Null Bind here, here's his rate. So that's the per minute, 3.9. Compared to the next closest guy, that's Zeus. He's being hit half as often as all these other guys, right? At least, sorry, Zeus. And then it's like a third, like an eighth, so way less numbers of hits coming in per minute. Same thing with the composites. Look at the composite. He's very tightly condensed down here. Both these guys, Zeus and Nullbind, are more defense-based stalkers. So I think that's part of it. You're just not being hit as often. But also, I think, Zeus was in the mix a lot more. I remember he was like shield charging in. So he was definitely in melee a lot more than Nullbind was. Nullbind, I think you saw a lot of it was the aggro was being pulled away from him a lot. I think that's part of it. And then the other thing about it, I think this could be where we are actually seeing that minus recharge impact. I don't have the data from the other teammates to really be able to say that conclusively, but he definitely was taking hits, right? He was taking some damage. He did die a few times, but he wasn't taking nearly as many hits as even the most defensive dude I had out there, Zeus. So he is defense, yes, not as defensive as Zeus. Is it just the team composition, aggro being drawn away? Is the tanking superior? I don't know about that. I do think this recharge is definitely factoring into this equation. I don't know exactly how much, though. It's hard to say given all the variables here. And then when we take the drive metrics, I think here's something else that sort of supports some of that conversation here. I don't have this data for all my other stalkers, unfortunately, but I do have, here's the total damage he was taking per mission. So 3,000 something, 6,000 something, 22,000, etc. And remember that these damages he was taking were fairly high on the rate of damage taken compared to others. So if we go back to that resilience number, remember he's up there in the rate, but he's lowest on the avoidance. So if we take a look at this stat kind of in those two spotlights, right? He's taking a lot of damage per minute compared to the others. He's very low on the hits per minute compared to the others. And then here's the data that I have new that I don't have for my other ones. I usually don't record the to hit numbers, the percents and whatever, but I did this time around, and I think it produces kind of an interesting stat, and that is I calculated the ratio of hits to misses. So 1 to whatever, 2.6. So if you look across the board here, this can give you an idea of how well like he was avoiding contact. For every hit that's hitting him, he was missed on average. You come down here twice. So basically, he's only being hit 1 out of every 3 attacks. So 3 attacks come his way. 1 is landing, hit, and 2 are missing. The miss column over here. So, what does that mean compared to the other ones? I don't know. I don't have all the data, but it's something to start looking at. I'll look at it with my upcoming 3 support stalkers. But what I want to see is if these numbers, these total numbers of incoming, because this is what I need to know, because the minus recharge should affect this. And when I look at my remaining 3 support stalkers, I can answer this question, because if minus recharge is making an impact, we should see on those remaining 3 these numbers higher. The ratios may not be. The ratio is going to be a measure of your actual defense, like you not getting hit or your positioning, that kind of thing. But mostly your defense, if you're just avoiding contact 1 out of 3. But if these raw numbers, the hits, the misses, are much lower, then the recharge is a plausible explanation. It could be you're just hiding, right? You're staying out of the way. I was standing back a bit, just given the nature of what we were doing on the team, but I don't think that's the only story there. And you kind of saw that in that last mission there, right? I mean, he was in the thick of it the whole time. And if you look there, 99 misses, 73 hits. It was a ratio of 1.4. So this was high full contact in the middle of everything versus the Vanguard mission where it was many more hits were coming in, ratio of 1 to 2, or sorry, 1 to 1.2. So here we're at a ranged open style. Here we're at a melee closed positioning. So I was in much more constant danger here, I would say, versus here was much more bad luck and getting smacked by multiple groups. So, there's something here that is potentially pointing towards this minus recharge having a measurable impact. It's probably the hardest one to measure of any of the other stuff that I'm testing at this point. And then you look at the slopes here again, and this is what's weird, right? Check this out. Because I'm not getting hit very much, the hits I am taking are big, right? These are big hits. 221 per hit. That's pretty sizable compared to these other guys. 30, 20, 21, 24. I mean, look at that number. It's like 10 times more damage per hit. So I'm definitely not being hit very much. And when I am being hit, it's being hit big. So why is that? Is it just the defense numbers? Or is it the minus recharge so that I'm slowing things down And then the only people that aren't being slowed or aren't being killed are those bigger, chunkier bosses who then are doing the bigger hits. Or is it again the team and the position? Because our blasters were doing a number and just eliminating minions and lieutenants pretty quickly. So maybe that's what's going on here. But it's just interesting that this particular build is the most avoiding of the batch that I've tested so far. All right, let's go ahead and close out this last mission. Switch back over to the video. All right, last mission. It's Gold Brickers. I thought it was the family, but the family, I guess, is owed money by the Gold Brickers or something like that. So that is what the mission is about. This is the old Kallisti Wharf office map or something like that. One of these Praetorian-style office buildings. Again, though, you look at it, it's kind of like an ugly map for this build. It's big, it's open. You know, I want to have tighter groups. But the Gold Brickers are not the Vanguard, and they're not those Peacekeepers. They're tougher than the Cray, that's for sure, but not as tough as the last two groups. So I think what's going to happen, and again, maybe it's just the nature of the beast, but I think we're going to go back towards a more run and gun style here. So I think the numbers are going to drop off again for me, but let's see what happens. At the same time, like the team was like, all right, let's wrap this up because we've been going for a little while now. We walk into this building, it's this huge office map. We're going, oh God, this thing's like, 3 floors or something like that. Let's kill stuff. Yeah, stalkers have a couple pets.
Oh, this map's huge.
But, all right, well, I
Gold
guess
Brickers.
we'll guess how fast we can. Oh, I thought it was family. It's freaking gold.
Yeah, it's Gold Bricker. And this map is
Yeah.
humongous.
All right, well, let's just kill a bunch of shit. You guys can do this, right?
Yeah. You've been on this map before.
Yeah, I freaking hate this map.
The tank is at the door.
Uh-oh. There she is.
Oh, there she goes.
All right, she's going in. That guy's got assed from range. I wonder if that's going to be sort of how Sentinels are going to operate with critical from range.
Wednesday's like, this is not the family.
Yeah. The mission lied.
No, he owes the family.
Tobor owes the family. Well, he owes them.
Okay.
Okay, one thing I did notice here, at least this first contact that we weren't doing earlier, is tank did the go in, right? Your tank is going in. So tank goes in and then goes over here with the pole or the taunt. And what I did notice is that, hey, teammates kind of hung back here for a couple seconds to let this materialize. What we had been doing in those first couple missions is just freaking launching right after her. So I don't know. Let's see if this sticks because we just had a couple of shaky missions or not. I blame Tommy. I asked for confirmation. He said, yeah, family's same old stuff in here. And I was like, all right, well, we'll go do them.
Just pulled it.
You make me laugh. You're very funny.
All right, so now we've got a problem, right? We've got a small little pole line of sight breaking location. I can get in here. You've got Wednesday's in here. Nate's right here. But I think a couple of our rangy types, like Guyver back there. These guys are now, looks like they're alerting. And they might be alerting in that direction. Okay, this is a bad location. It really wasn't a pretty location. We really couldn't pull back too much to the other room. Unless we pulled way back because there's no like little nooks and crannies. That's one thing about these newer office maps. You can see them here. The old office maps have those little lips that you can duck behind in the doorways there. They don't have those on these newer maps. It's just a flat open space. So pulling to a little corner around the doorway doesn't work on these. And comes the range damage.
I'm gonna be dead.
Yeah, just stay near us. We'll protect you. Got potential aggro on the right. So you didn't have that on the entire time?
I did not have it on the
Oh my god.
It's completely off.
Is that why you're getting your ass handed to you? Holy crap.
It's helped a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the big things they gave blasters
Have you considered a checklist?
Check.
What?
Mom's too.
All right, look at this. Okay, we got a nice lineup over here in the corner.
Have you considered a checklist?
Right there. So look, Wednesday's got this group yanked towards the corner while we finished off that boss. And she's taking some damage, so it's a bit risky to kind of go and pull taunt before the rest of the team can support you. I mean, she knows her character better than I do, so I don't know. We'll see. She goes in there. They're coming around her, but it's a nice grouping for us at this point as we turn and fire. Now, where this can become bad is if we get delayed. For instance, there was another group right in that doorway, so potential aggro over there. It's one thing I would be careful of tanking these sorts of things is making sure that stuff is kind of finished before you start something else. But I think the other thing here is we did have some aggro, so she might have been grabbing that aggro and yanking it to the far corner so that it got off of us. I don't know. My camera was facing the other direction. Shit.
What?
Mom's to the south. But Wednesday's got.
Did you see Guyve try to do that knockback explode? Oh shit. Okay. Exactly what I was worried about. Check it out. The big things. Okay, so to the right, there are groups over here. You can see them. There's one right there as well. Right there. So there's a couple guys here, right? Wednesday's gone over here to this corner to pull everything. That's where you see my camera swing as well. But there's something I catch out of the corner of my eye. Gave blasters.
Have you considered a checklist?
Okay, I just heard it. I see it. It's right here. That's blazing bolt. I don't. Tommy's obviously shooting at something back here. Right? I didn't see what it was, but I just want to check something because I heard it and then I just saw that go whistling past that pillar. Let me see something. Is there somebody back there? So okay, I see what he's shooting. Must be this guy. Right here. Okay. Now, I have a suspicion of what happens here. Let me see if this is what goes down.
On the entire time.
No, I did not have it on the.
Oh my god.
It's completely off.
All right, there he is. The guy underneath the stairs.
Holy crap.
It's helped a lot. I'm.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the big things. They gave blasters.
Boom, guy's finished.
Have you considered a checklist?
Here comes the shot. Boom.
Mom's to.
All right, so definitely he's back there engaged with that enemy. I don't know if Nate's back there too. But right now, Charnel, Guyve, and myself are all up here, and I was just complimenting Guyve. Look, he's doing his big, whatever you call that, Peacebringer boom boom that has the KB in it. But notice where he is. He's not like right in the middle and throwing them everywhere. He's at the edge, blasting them into the wall to contain his knockback. So smart play with him. But then watch what happens.
To the south. But Wednesday's got.
Right here. Pause. Check it out. What is all of that stuff right there? Look at all these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's another guy here. 6. A couple guys there, right? There's a group here. It's been obviously aggroed, and it's not towards the front where your tank, stalker, and peacebringer are. It's after your blasters back here. So remember, Tommy was behind me with Hellborn, and he was shooting that guy that was underneath here. So I wonder if he was fired a couple times to finish this guy. He might have gotten closer. And remember, that group was sitting right over here, and I would have been worried about that when I saw Wednesday pulled into the corner over here. I was like, ooh, we're still finishing that guy back here, and this group is back here. That can lead to, obviously aggro. So, hey, check it out. Boom. It's now happened. I don't know exactly what triggered it, but.
Oh yeah, look at these guys.
And it doesn't even look like our blasters even see it. right? Look at them. If you take a look at our two, they're facing this way, right? They're looking this way. Do they even see this guy back here? I don't think they do. Maybe this is an ambush. I don't know. But all of a sudden, there's this group coming from around the corner. You guys got something going on over here.
Leslie's got that milkshake.
Oh, they want a piece of me. Oh, shit. They got it. They got a big piece. Fuck. Guy just healed me. Oh, you can't heal me now. I'm chilled out.
No, but I can support Stalker the shit around.
Yeah, support the stalker. That's what this is really should be called.
That's okay. I'll get some aggro off you.
Yeah, inflame. You know what? Inflame you while I'm. Can you do that when I'm in ice cube form?
Did I inflame you?
No, I'm just saying. Can you do it if I'm in ice cube form?
I don't know. I've never tried it.
Or what if I had inflame? If I have inflame, will it still stay on if I go ice cube? All right, those guys got mushed. I don't know where they came from. If they was just random group sauce or what. Yeah. I wonder which way Wednesday wants to go.
There's also mobs upstairs, FYI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna fly up to look though.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go find out. We don't have to kill everything.
I've always wanted to experiment with taking some lobies and just having them sit Dorset here. Ooh, hobby horse.
Guy just seems to be standing there doing nothing.
This is probably some good XP for leveling your odds. As long as you don't get one with an ambush.
Damn, this place is huge.
Humongous.
They just got. You know what's funny is like our two blasty types. Well, all three of them have that tier 9, you know, PBOE nuke. Meanwhile, I'm like standing back with my tier 9 nukes. So melee standing back to range nuke. Range guys going into melee nuke. That was well done. Okay, here we go again. We got, you know, the old King of the Hill maneuver going. So Charnel's going in right to the center. And there's no way to pull all this aggro. Right, look at all these guys. So if they all start firing, they're going to overwhelm her position and start coming this way. But, you know, you can't, there's nowhere to pull this way. So I think the best idea, and I'll see if she does it, is to go here and get behind that pillar right there. At least draw the fire in this direction, if possible. There might be guys up above, too. Let's see what we do. Guys, I go over this way because that's what I'm thinking she's going to do. I think she's going to shift over towards that pillar. So I want to kind of start to line it up. Plus, I don't want these guys behind me, right? I don't want to go in that direction and have a bunch of these guys coming in behind me. So I'm going to scoot in this direction, keep them in front of me, and let's see what they do. Are they responding to the tank heading that way? Or do they need to be dealt with? Okay. Oh, dude, obliteration. See, if these guys are the vanguard, they'd be smoking us because they'd have the perception to start attacking from way back there.
Level 54 boss.
Crushing. Are we going up?
Ooh. How much money have you guys made?
A lot.
I've made like $10 million.
Somewhere in
10
there.
million plus. I didn't have very much influence when I started. I don't think I did.
We go up to find Tobor. It's probably gotta be
Yeah.
upstairs, right? I mean, we don't need to clear this big ass map.
Nah, he's gonna probably be a couple floors up.
Yeah, especially this other floor's gonna be just as big anyway.
Whoa. Whoops.
Man, these guys are fast. So I'm backing up because I don't want to overshoot with cryonic.
We're definitely handling this map pretty good.
All right, Stalker pets for the win. Oh, she's going deep. Charnel's going deep. Charnel's getting creeped. All right, so yeah, so look, she's gone deep and no support. I was summoning my pet and she ducked way up there, taking a bunch of ranged fire.
Oh, Charles needs us.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in there just to support stock. What? Now she's coming back? Everything's everywhere now. A lot of scatter again. I'm supporting with offense and kills. That's pretty much how it works.
Hopefully this is the last floor.
55 room. Critical sniper shot. Oh, oof. That was a big hit. It's not nice of them.
Yeah, we melted him now.
These guys, like, they're aggro. I don't know why. I mean, overall, I just think the perception of this game needs to be improved for the enemies. Because, like, here you're beating the hell out of people, like, 20 feet from this guy. He's just, no big deal.
This is a very smart tank.
I mean, I think that's the easiest way to make this game more challenging is just increase the perception range of enemies. Alright, look at that. Another good idea. So you see what Wednesday does here with Charnel. Comes over here, gets behind cover, getting some taunt, getting some aggro, and then I just saw Darkest Night come over here. And you see these guys are now being pulled this way. So she's funneling enemies in this direction. Now we can just stand here and unload or go in there with her. Stay to the right. Don't go to the middle.
We get lots of badges. Fort Knox badge.
Nice. Oh, damn, what happened to Nate? Uh-oh. I didn't even see that. Okay, he's at full health.
We get lots of badges.
Here comes Nate.
Fort Knox
Does his
badge.
nuke. Nice. It just gets effing obliterated. That was crazy. I think these are his damages against him right here. I might have to zoom in so you can see this. This is freaking nuts. I think that's it right there. So he does a nuke. And then look at this. Minus 951, minus 387, minus 342. I think he gets hit by a couple of guys and they just freaking destroy him for only about 1,600 total damage. Because he was at full just a second ago. Back that up.
We Get lots of badges.
There's Nate. Goes nuke.
Max badge.
Nice.
And then boom, he's just freaking dead. He goes in full health, nukes, and it gets killed like a second later. In freaking sane. Nate got wrecked somewhere.
Not Nate. He was so young. Oh, it's holding a good mob over there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go wreck him. All dead. Those are like 55s. It just got destroyed. Next.
Hoping that'd be it. That'd be the boss.
No. Gotta find your boy Tobor. Hodor.
There's a bunch over here.
Alright, there we go. Little drag pull that was. You just saw her running through with her damage aura on, taunting. And everybody's just following her now, which is fine. Now we all just slip in behind.
It worked that time.
I'm gonna do is an ice armor and electric stalker, I think, or electric
Oh, I see.
melee ice armor. So I think I could get some good drain between energy absorption and some electric attacks.
Oh shit, this is
Tobor. I'm telling you. Like right here, this is exactly how this character's designed and what I wanted to play all the style all night. Was right what you're seeing right here. All right, so you got your tank pulling stuff in. I go stand next to them. Got my debuff aura. I can start sniping stuff if I want, which is what I'm doing. And then use my melee attacks, especially mass levitate and anything that's close. Mass levitate. I'm using ranged attacks, pulling them in. Some more minus recharge, size scream. Got chilling embrace going. Got the side blades. Mass levitating. All right, perfect. Yeah, hold on. We're in the middle of this group right over here, but yeah. Nice. So bam, bam. Another pole behind the pillar. This guy's just getting crushed. It's safe to port.
Oh, you found him?
Yeah, I think Guy's got him. Wait, Wednesday starting another fight. Fuck.
That's okay. They're all come following.
Yeah. Right through this.
Oh,
Tobor.
yeah, this room. He's in one of the side rooms.
Oh wait, they're just is that the group that followed us?
Yeah.
The TP guys just followed us.
Teleported in.
Oh
shit.
Great.
Oh my god, no.
Awesome.
Unload. Alright, just go in there.
Never seen that before.
That's it. Stay frosty. Oh, there goes. Damn, how did he kill them in a second?
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Here comes Hellborn. He takes one hit.
Stay frosty.
He just and then unloads his rain of fire, and then that's it. That's the last thing he does. Dead.
That's all right. Perfect opportunity to rise to the phoenix.
Yeah, you're intending to do that. Wish they had that extended range on auras already. Smelter knows smelting. Here comes the rest of the people that she aggroed. Finally caught up.
That was great. They teleported to us, though. I've never seen them do that before.
There's a guy in here. He was just trying to walk. Boom. That was it.
All right, we did it, you guys.
Holy bang, bang, bang. All right, let's look at the last couple of stats here. Disruption, this is the control output. This guy was not built as a controlling style. So that's why his numbers I don't think are that great. But, I mean, considering he's finishing rate-wise pretty close with overexposure, dead cell, and Zaus. I mean, the only person that's really been built around this raw control, that's Uncaged Psyche, and Banshee's just blowing everybody away. So this guy's really kind of middle of the pack. The only thing I did point out earlier is that the pets were a significant chunk of his disruption outputs. Somewhere around 20% of this number. So if he didn't have his pets, right, he'd be down where like Zaus is, nowhere, you know, even in competition really. So overall, pretty solid numbers given that his control is really knockdowns from the Ragnarok proc and from Mass Levitate. He's got a couple of stuns, I think, or holds from his Psi attacks. But really, that's it. The drive metrics from that, you know, the controls doing anything to blunt incoming damage. So here's what you're looking at here. 74 damage in per control. Compare that to the other people. 67, 31, 28, 12. So yeah, you know, it's helping a little bit, but it's not enough controls really to make a difference. That's kind of hard to say anyway because, you know, her numbers are so low on Uncaged, like just because she had so many damn controls were flying out there. Did it really, you know, debilitate the enemy? You know, it's hard to say. But his numbers are on the higher end. But again, he just wasn't getting hit that much anyway. So, you know, reduced number of hits. He's got a decent amount of control. So I think it adds up to he's fairly safe overall. Do the controls have any impact on team defeats at all? Again, this is always a question. I don't think you really answered too well because it seems, wow, you know, Uncaged Psyche did great at protecting the team because of all the controls. Not really. I mean, she just had a lot of controls. You know, it's tons and tons of controls that she was throwing out there. Her rate, you know, 500 some controls per team defeat. You know, did that mean it was less defeats? I don't know about that. And then team defeats just said he had a lot of defeats for Null Bind, especially on that one mission, right? Here's that one mission right there. If he didn't have that huge, you know, one spike, his slope would have been, you know, more in this range there. So I think that's kind of misleading because you see the skewing of the data. None of the Stalkers really has a ton of control aside from Uncaged Psyche. Then does the control damage output, is there any correlations there with those numbers? You know, there is. I mean, 9.7, they're all pretty high. 9.6, 9.8, 9.7. So it means, hey, as controls go up, damage goes up. Well, part of that's because your controls are the damage, or the damage do have a control built into it, like Mass Levitate, right? That's not just a control, it's also a big damaging hit. So they kind of make sense. Only like controllers have control with no damage, you know, let's say your AoE controls. So it kind of just, you know, goes hand in hand. As you have more controls, you're going to do more damage on that. His numbers are pretty consistent with, you know, what is it, dead cell and overexposure there. Tons of, you know, tons of control. Again, not really. yield. The control is correlating with the number of foes being defeated. Yeah, again, we're seeing that. But I think, again, because it goes hand in hand, you're doing more damage because you're doing controls. The controls and damage go hand in hand. So because controls are damage is defeating, you're going to see a correlation between the two. But I don't think, comparing this to controllers, like it's not really the same thing. So I don't know that you can definitely conclude anything strong from these numbers. Other than it's just, purposeful, it's efficient, they're aligning, the numbers are going hand in hand. But the last that I do want to take a look at here is efficiency. I think this is probably one of the most important stats that I record here. This is that output versus input, your offense versus defensive numbers here, the relationship between these two. I think this is probably the most telling of anything. Are you a very offensive build? Are you a really defensive build? And how do those two numbers balance with each other? I mean, Zaus, right? I mean, he was like the machine as far as he was tons of output damage and very little incoming damage. We look at Null Bind though, he's got the lowest efficiency of the bunch. His damage output versus damage input, it's only 5-1. So he's still on the red side or on the black side of things, but it's not very, good. I mean, the only other person that is in that lowish range is Dead Cell. And so really the two of these guys are the two that had the most trouble, the most team defeats, that kind of thing. And remember, he wasn't really, Nullbind wasn't taking a ton of damage, right? He wasn't getting hit that much, but he also wasn't outputting a ton of damage. And part of that, I think, was because of team composition. I think this is kind of what we're seeing here. I think just the way the team was playing, the team composition is a bigger story here than necessarily he just didn't do a lot of damage. I think he was doing damage. It's just that stuff was dying so fast it really didn't matter. And yeah, he was taking incoming damage, but it wasn't a ton. He really only had one bad mission. That last mission, he was barely taking anything either. So overall, the numbers are pretty, more because of the style than his build, I think. I think it's more the team composition than anything else. The other thing you can kind of say, you can see how Zaust's numbers are very spread out. Like, he can have some really crazy missions and then some more down to earthy ones. So, overall, if you look at that consistency wise, Nullbind's in there with overexposure and uncaged psyche and dead cell. So it's really only Zaust who's sort of the outlier of the support stalkers as far as its efficiency goes. Everybody else is pretty tight down here in this 5 to 10 out to in ratio, from what I can tell. All right, so let's try to bring this home here. So let's take a look at this defensive stats, offensive stats, and then big picture wise. Defensively, Null Bind, support stalker. What's going on? His whole point, his whole way he works is action denial, right? Minus recharge. He's not lowering damage or making people not hit you, that sort of thing. So if you look across survivability, risk, resilience, avoidance, there's one thing I think you can kind of see here is that he does seem to be reducing how often enemies are getting to act. I think that is true. It's hard to detect it though, but I think where we see it popping its head is in that lowest hits per minute taken by everybody compared to all the other stalkers so far. So I think that's the biggest, thing that's arguing towards, hey, he's lowering the outgoing attack rates, right? So I think that's the biggest thing here. So it seems that the suppression is working before the damage is rolled, but once the attack is rolling, he's getting hit, right? He's taking the damage. And that's, opposite of what Zaus is doing. Remember, Zaus is not stopping you from attacking. He's saying, go ahead and attack. You can't hit me, right? And Uncaged Psyche, she's using the confusions and the controls and the sleeps and all the other stuff to cause you to not be able to attack because you're constantly being broken out of your rotation. So this is a different way of working. And remember, you're also able to get off those attacks, at least the first couple, before the mitigation starts kicking in. The other thing that you're seeing here, and you saw that especially with that Vanguard mission, is that team safety is very stable for most of these missions, given that you've got crazy blaster damage flying and stuff is outgoing is coming or incoming towards them is crazy. So it was pretty safe not just because of Null Bind. I mean, obviously you have some tanking going on there too. But then it collapsed, right? You saw that. So when stuff went bad, it went bad fast in that Vanguard mission. So it's kind of a really binary situation, right? You've got that. I think it's that thought of they got 1, 2, 3 attacks, let's say, before that minus recharge window starts to really impact, or that minus recharge debuff hits. So attack, attack, attack. It's hitting, hitting, hitting. If it's coming in super fast, bam, it's lights out. Versus, hey, if you can weather that initial storm, then okay, we're fine, no big deal. So it's either hit or miss, really. That I think is what you're seeing there. And then when stuff broke, boom, it was like a big old spike. The same thing here. His personal defeats, you saw it with his numbers. They were low until that one mission. His incoming damage versus the hits was high because he's not getting hit much, but when he's getting hit, it's bam. The damage is into these short little violent windows of action. So I think the big takeaway here is that from a team perspective, if there's disciplined play on the team side, I think we saw that with the peace bringers there, the peacekeeper people. That was pretty disciplined. We were, pulling same later in the Vanguard mission. We started doing this. If we were more disciplined, he's able to concentrate that minus recharge in small areas and be very impactful. But if it's just, running and gunning, willy-nilly charging in there, he's not going to be very impactful whatsoever. But this is kind of the problem, though. It requires high coordination. So this is probably not the build for a pug. I mean, let's just be honest about that. If you're putting on a regular old pug team, and I think that's kind of how we were playing, right? I mean, the team was playing just loosey-goosey, no concerns. And, it's, not complaining. That's just the way people were doing it. And that's fine. It's cool. That's more realistic, I think, than some, planned out team squad that you got. Oh, I need tier 4 barriers and 2 cold domination, all that nonsense. You start to see some of these, star runs of these task force stuff. We didn't see that here. And then he's absorbing the danger after protecting the team. So I think what we're starting to see here is kind of the sequence is very important. So if the enemies aren't able to act, you're getting pretty good avoidance. If the team is, playing with the poles and staying out of sight, we got very low risk. But then as the pressure goes up, his resilience is starting to take the hits. But once we get past this, if they're able to act, if the team is popping its head out too much, getting too far ahead, then bam, defeats start hitting. He's not front loading personal survivability at the expense of his allies, though. He's I think putting himself in harm's way in order to try to hold the line. Like I had to do that a few times. I just went in a melee or shot some range stuff in order to kind of draw some aggro. In order to pull some off of the enemy, off of the allies. You couldn't do it all the time, of course, because your blasters are just getting so much hate in the back, and they were just dying really fast. I think compared to the other support stalkers so far, he's got tempo control, I think, pretty well, but the safety margin's not there. I mean, Zaus was definitely the safest. He didn't have a lot of demand on his abilities either. He kind of stand around with his defensive auras and very low ceiling of how to work him. Uncaged Psyche, Overexposure, they were pretty steady, forgiving. They could flatten the risk of incoming damage, that kind of thing. Dead Cell, he had some issues once we got it straightened out in the first mission or two. Things were under control a little bit better because he had to play a lot more raw tank because we had an Alpha Brute on that squad that just was not able to handle the aggro. So he had to put himself in the thick of it too much. Now with Null Bind, I mean, his whole point is alter pace, slow things down so that the enemy can't operate. Buy time so that we can recover or strategize, not just take out enemies, that kind of thing. But this is the issue. It demands awareness of what's going on, not just on him, but the whole team, so that the team can capitalize. If the team is just going super fast, right? If they're not waiting, right? If they're just not looking, then boom, stuff's going to happen. Body's going to start dropping. So I think that's the big problem. It really puts the emphasis on a team's awareness of what he can do and not vice versa. And I think that's sort of the
the bad way, maybe. I don't know how to say it, of support. Like if you're building a support tune where the team needs to know what you're doing, then you have a problem, right? As a support, you need to know what the team is doing, at least in my opinion. So I think that's where this guy is, and I don't want to say he's misbuilt, but I think where this build is, and I'm not saying it's failing, but where it's failing at this point is that it requires this. All right, team needs to know, and as a supporter, people aren't necessarily looking at you, right? Like if I'm playing force fields, they're not going, "Oh, how do your fields work?" Right? I mean, in some cases, you do need to know. Let's say kinetics, kinetics heal, you got to be in melee to get it. You would need to know that. But this is really requiring a whole team level of strategy in order to be an effective supporting style of support stalker. And then that's what this is talking about. So the success, defensive success with all these metrics, it's scaling with the team's competence. So if the team is playing well, playing good, then he's going to be able to amplify their ability. If the team is playing horribly, it's a bad built team, people are just running off, then he's not gonna be able to do anything, right? He's not gonna be able to rescue. He is not rescuing anybody. If team's playing strategically, he'll amplify the hell out of what they want to do. And that's what his metrics, I think, are starting to show here. He's not passively preventing mistakes at all. He's given team allies longer time to react. He's reducing that incoming action density. So instead of being 6 attacks coming in 10 seconds, it's 4. It's 3, something like that. So it's lowering incoming threat. And it buys a little bit of time before failure if things are working. I think you saw that in that one recovery moment on the Vanguard where we had that doorway and Charnel had fallen again. I think one of our blasters was down. And I was standing there just buying time while Guy and maybe it was Nate were able to kind of finally blast enough stuff there that Charnel was able to get back up. So it was enough to hold back a second team wipe. That's pretty much what he can do. He can buy time. So he's more like a backup support. Kind of like you have like an off brute. This would be like an off supporter, I would say. And then teams that are repositioning, focusing fire, disengaging, that sort of thing, they're going to benefit much more than a team that's just go, 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 which is what I think our team was doing. All right, let's flip over to the offensive stuff. So I think his build overall is intentionally low lethality, low threat. He's not built to be this killer, okay? And I think you saw that lowest lethality, lowest threat, very tight variance. He didn't have this big wide range of missions. Everything was pretty consistent as far as his offense went. So he's just having a steady contribution of damage and kills. He's not trying to be the big spiker or speeding through and just trashing everything. He doesn't have AoEs to do all that kind of crazy stuff. He's got to get in there. He's got to mix it up, and it's going to take a few seconds for that to hit. Offense, it's tempo control, not pressure, right? He's not just a wave. He's just sort of a slow tide kind of pushing, slowing things down. You saw his control. His disruption was pretty moderate, like in the middle of the pack. But it was very cleanly scaling, right? There was correlation there. And most of the control really is built around the minus recharge stuff, which is not hard lockdown. And this is not recorded. There is no stat that you can read that says how many seconds you prevented somebody from attacking, right? We can only assume that from some of the other metrics that are being recorded. But we do know that things that are being minus recharge, you've experienced it yourself as a character. If you've ever been hit with minus recharge, you can't act as often. The fight's going to take longer, right? Your damage output is going to be slower. Well, the opposite's true, right? The enemy's acting less. The fight is going to be able to stretch longer if needed, right? But we were doing enough damage that, bam, the fights didn't have to last longer. And then, yeah, this was, I think, true. I think if I wasn't playing, minus recharge, let's say I had some other thing, more damage would have been coming in faster. At least as long as I was able to get in melee, I had to really leverage that in order to get the really good minus recharge. Because other than that, the only way I could really slow stuff down at range was Scream and Cryonic. Your Mental Blast had a little bit. But
Scream and Cryonic were the two big ones. If I could get those two hitting, then I could get a good chunk of minus recharge on you. So it's an indirect offensive system. Okay, so he's making the enemy not damage us as often, but he's not destroying the enemy's hit points. So I think that's where it's hard to gauge exactly what his output was. Controls, they were contributing to the team damage and the kills, but I think a lot of it was just not on his board. I think a lot of this was the blasters were going to be able to take advantage. So as I was knocking things down, slowing things down, that sort of thing, those rains of fire were hitting, right? Those energy torrents were flying, or power bursts, whatever it is, from energy blasts were hitting. So the teammates were able to just start unloading into the group at the same time as I was able to slow some stuff down. Again, can you measure that reliably? Not really. You can just kind of see it in some of the video action, and some of the stats are suggesting that. And some of the stats you can see that are giving you clear picture. That is the amplification stat, the yield stat, prevention stat. The controls were connected to a lot of these metrics of damage, foe defeating, and he wasn't ramping up control in response to incoming damage like you would see in like some of the controllers. More control, right? Kind of a flat slope. He's not overreacting. So overall interpretation here, it seems that his controls are helping. And again, this is not just well, what this is really looking at, the controls are the knock ups are the big things. Those, and we can't see these. We can only guess at these. The minus recharge is not being recorded anywhere. But between these two, we're looking at creating firing windows that teammates can then exploit. So if I'm able to keep stuff either falling down, being really slow, unable to move, that kind of thing, then the teammates can just unload and take advantage of that. I think we did see this when I wasn't in the mix, stuff running amok and going crazy. So I do think you can see that from the video evidence. When I was absent from a particular melee area, stuff seemed to scatter a lot more. So if I was able to get in there, it seemed like we could lock it down more easily from that sort of soft control situation. And that's exactly what you, I think, would want to see with the sort of heavy blaster range stuff, right? I can help kind of stabilize things, keep stuff near our tank. We just weren't able to do it as often as I had wanted to. But once we could, I mean, stuff was just being freaking evaporated within seconds. And then efficiency stats, taking a look at this, it's sort of showing you the cost of that suppression based style that he's playing, right? He's got that lowest ratio. And you also saw the collapses when the missions got super hot, right? And that's because suppression isn't giving damage as an output, right? You're not getting, hey, I'm taking more damage, so I'm doing more damage. No. What you're seeing, and you're not seeing on the ledger board, is time. You're getting time out of it, which should be buying you some safety. So it's contributing, or what he's able to do is contribute. He's able to absorb that damage. I think that's why you saw those higher inputs before he fell. Because normally, right, the fight would have been more scattered, diffuse, that sort of thing. But if he was able to kind of stand there, slow it down, take the hits, he was able to absorb a bunch, almost kind of tank it a little bit before he fell. Otherwise, right, we'd be running like crazy, get out of there. Or I'd be getting a lot of kills because I'm just going for pure DPS. Okay. And the last part on the offensive side is that these offense and defense, they're inseparable from his design. And here's what that means is that because we're lowering the rate of hits coming in with the minus recharge, the defense, positioning, right? We're hopefully preventing the enemy from taking actions. If the enemy's taking fewer actions, the team has more uptime because they're going to be not being pounded on or having controls hitting them. And if they're up and engaged longer, they're going to have more DPS. But it's not going to be his own personal DPS. So I think that's what you're seeing there, that his
his style of suppression is leading to lower DPS for himself, but the team is able to cash in. And then when you see his risk and resilience numbers are spiking, his lethality is dropping off. So as he's going down, right? Obviously, his lethality is going down. So he's choosing to get in there, put himself at risk, take more hits, and not worry about, oh, I got to get this awesome attack off, right? Let me AS him at that, right? A lot of times you kind of saw me kind of hanging back for a second, repositioning for a cone, moving into a melee position to kind of get the chilling embrace going. So it really was mostly about a prioritization, trying to get the correct location, the correct mob density before I went in there. It wasn't that he just didn't know what to do. He was trying to get himself in an optimal scenario. And that is what I wanted to say about the offense. So let's get to the last portion here. How does he stack up versus other stalkers, right? And I think what we got to admit here is that aside from the numbers, this build, this minus recharge, this minus suppression, this is the most structurally different support stalker that I've tested at this point. It's not like he's better or worse, whatever. He's orthogonal, meaning he's different. He's weird, that kind of thing. He's not the standard type of idea. We look at the overall defensive stats, best in class at the avoidance stuff, right? Lowest hit rate, lowest hit accumulation, high resilience under pressure, high risk volatility. He was fine until that one mission, right? And that seemed to be clustered around his suppression failure. And his whole point is he's denying enemy actions to prevent the team. So he's got to get into the fight. So if the fight is happening without him, that's when things go bad. He's not there absorbing a bunch of damage for the team, healing, erasing, blocking it from them, right? He's getting engaged with the enemy. He's reacting to the situation. He's going after them. Offense, he does have the lowest lethality and threat rate, but it's predictable at least, linear, so we know what's going to happen. But I think it's because a lot of his damage is being sacrificed. It's not that he can't do it. It's just that he's trying to get better positioning. He's waiting for the tank to get set up, and then let the blasters do their thing. He wasn't trying to glory hound his way through the mission. Control, disruption. He's got low, moderate control volume, similar to a couple of the other support stalkers, but high persistence, right? Is constantly throwing out some of those knockups. He's got some holds. He's got a couple stuns in there. The pets are contributing a bunch, and that's the big thing. He's the only stalker whose pet actually meaningfully, consistently gave some control output. The other ones weren't even close to what his pets were able to do. And his disruption was correlating with damage and foe defeats, even though his personal DPS was low. So his controls were impacting his offensive output. Efficiency, he had the worst ratio between the two. But it's mostly because damage intake, not necessarily that he wasn't able to output a lot of damage. I think a lot of the damage output was kind of being masked by the blasters, but he was taking some big spikes of damage in a couple of those missions. So if you kind of tag those two together, the blasters erasing a lot of the targets before he can actually get in there. He's positioning, he's strategizing, and then he's taking a couple of big hits. It makes it skewed these numbers a bit. So you can tell he's paying this measurable, consistent cost to do this kind of just boring work, I guess, right? Other people aren't out there trying to put their body near others or draw aggro and throw in something to slow down the enemy, where that's what his game was. So final thing here, Stalker versus Stalker. Zaus Warden at this point. He's been the safest, simplest, highest upside in the efficiency category. Uncaged Psyche. She controls offense. Massive amount of controls. Very volatile character, though. Overexposure. She had the best balance of damage, control, efficiency. Dead Cell. He was this attrition engine. predictable risk accumulation. You can kind of knew what was coming with him because he was sort of in the front all the time. Null Bind, tempo suppressor. He's not a big damager, either in or out, really. He's there kind of putting himself as glue amongst the enemy. And Null Bind, he's the only one whose primary value really isn't showing up on the scoreboard, I don't think. There's really no way to measure directly the effects of minus recharge or the number of attacks the enemy are getting. What I would need for that is all the characters on the team's hits and misses, and I need it for multiple characters, multiple stalkers. This huge comparison because the game just doesn't record that. It'll just say you have slowed so and so's attack. It doesn't tell you for how long, how many attacks they couldn't launch, etc. So it's not showing up in kill speed. It's not showing up in the damage. It's not showing up in efficiency. We can only guess at it. And I think ultimately before I can make any final determination, wow, this build sucks or this build is great, I need to see the other three that are going to run this level, this Kallisti Wharf stuff, because once I have them, I'll be able to better gauge this. Because if after I've run those three and I have the previous four, and if at that point Null Bind is in the bottom in a lot of these categories, let's say, well then yeah, you can say, oh yeah, this minus recharge is a terrible idea, or it just might not be even possible to decipher what the hell it's even doing. But there you go. That is our analysis of Null Bind, the chill before the kill, the suppression stalker. Hopefully you got some useful information out of that for your own stalkers or other characters you're thinking about building, especially around weird things like minus recharge. Our next up, I haven't decided exactly which stalker I'm going to do yet, but I got 3 interesting characters that I want to test still. I think I might do my thumper next. That'll be another interesting idea. But anyway, there you go. You got to wait for that one. In the meantime, have yourselves a good one. Take it easy.